Hi, friends. This is Tom Hartman. Thank you for supporting Occuthon 2011 and giving power back to the people. This is Occuthon 2011, a 24-hour internet broadcast to benefit local Occupy charities across the nation.
Occupy Wall Street! All day, all week!
Thank you for supporting Occuthon 2011. This is what democracy looks like.
Began with a small protest on Wall Street in Lower Manhattan here in New York, has grown to demonstrations nationwide.
Occupy Wall Street protesters identified themselves as the 99% that will no longer tolerate the greed and corruption of the 1%.
From New York to L.A., even up in Maine, people took to the streets to make sure their message is heard.
Don't forget the live and interactive Radio or Not Ustream chat room where you can always be part of the conversation. And they'll be taking your calls live during the Occuthon. Occuthon.com for more information. Occuthon.com. Occuthon 2011 from Radio or Not. You're listening to and watching Occuthon 2011 live.
And I think we're on the air. Scott tells me, my awesome producer Scott tells me we're on the air. So welcome to the filter-free radio portion of Occuthon here. We're in hour number 4, 10 p.m. live on the East Coast. My name is Jacob Dean. And oh my goodness, we are so happy to be here and still working hard here on Occuthon 2011. My name is Jacob Dean. I'll tell you a little bit about myself real quick, but first I want to give a huge thank you and shout out to all of the people participating in Occuthon tonight. If you need more information on Occuthon, of course, the website is occuthon.com. We want to thank Free Speech TV and Blip TV, of course. Most importantly, Radio or Not. This is a production put on by all of us here at Radio or Not. RadioOrNot.com is the website, and we do. It's a progressive internet talk show network where you can find independent progressive voices, which are quite contrary to the corporate media, which is a good thing. But also, not to digress too far, we want to thank WKRP Radio. Yes, WKRP Radio. Turkey's flying. No, it's Occuthon. And also SoFlowRadio.com, TalkRadio1.com, 97.9 FM, the voice of the resistance, and all of our other syndicators from the Radio or Not evening lineup. I want to say hello real quick and welcome on to the show my fine and awesome, fantastic co-host who co-hosts with me Filter-Free Radio Monday nights on RadioOrNot.com, Skeptical Scott. Scott?
Hello.
Welcome to Occuthon, buddy.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here doing my thing. Try and make it happen.
And this is Scott's first time producing, and he's having fun at the board and all of the toys back there. We have got such a fantastic show for you, and then we're going to take a little bit of a break. Danielle, the Left Neck Chick's going to be coming up for 3 hours, and Shano, then Kenny, and then we'll be back in 9 hours for a second edition here. And we're all going to be on for 2 shifts, in case you were wondering. And if you want more information about the schedule in general, everything is available for you at Occuthon.com. And I want to give a shout out to our fine folks in the chat room. Hey, everybody, we've got the chat open right here and reading what you're saying. And we've got almost 60 people in the chat room right now. So this is terrific. And thank you so much for checking out and participating in Occuthon. It's so great to have you with us. I want to get right to our first guest who's on the line with me. He is a singer, songwriter, and a brilliant progressive musician. Or maybe I shouldn't characterize that and let him characterize himself. But I believe that the messages in most of his songs are just brilliant. I play them, I feature them on the Tom Hartman National Radio program, which I produce. I'm the associate producer, and I run the board, basically, in studio engineering. And I play Moss's songs on Tom Hartman all the time. I also play them on my show on Filter Free Radio. And it is my pleasure and my honor to welcome to Occuthon 2011, Mr. Moss Henry of MossHenry.com. Moss, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, Jacob.
Oh, it's a pleasure, bud. And this is actually the first time that we've ever gotten to speak with each other, so I'm very excited about this. And I just wanted you real quick to give our listeners a brief, bio of yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and your music, and then I got some fantastic tunes we're going to play from Mose for you, including his brand new Occupy All Streets in support of Occupy Wall Street. That's awesome.
Well, I live in Northern California and have for a long time, and have been writing songs probably longer than many of your listeners have been around. So
yes.
I've got a long history there of writing, and I would say about half of my songs are political or social commentary, and then I mix in things that are more traditional in terms of subject matter. But since I'm not writing in a commercial vein or for a commercial market, I can really say what I want to say, and so I don't have to mince words or play games with what I'm saying. I really have the freedom to write what I want, and I've been paying attention to the political scene since I was in college back in the late 60s. And, had hoped that things would get better. So to watch things unravel the way they have over so many years has been really difficult. And so a lot of my frustration, a lot of my thoughts about what's happening goes into my music, and I'm really thrilled to have a place to have my songs played. So I really appreciate your doing that, Jacob.
Oh, thank you, Moss. And that's actually one of the main reasons for kind of the Occuthon when we were first discussing what if we were going to do it or not, and then what we wanted to do with the event. That was basically it. Was exactly what you were talking about, Moss, and the message and kind of the goals there, and being on an independent progressive network, you're able to say things and what I would call speak the truth, much more honestly and openly, and that's something that we all need more of.
Yeah, I think it's very difficult if you're trying to reach a large mainstream kind of audience. You really have to just play games with words, and often, you're rewarded for being clever but not very deep or provocative. And, for me, writing songs has always been a challenge, something where I go deep into my heart or deep into my soul, and I try to come up with something that has the crunch of reality about it. Otherwise, I really don't want to take the time to do it. So when I'm finished with a song, I really want it to be an honest statement about what I'm thinking or feeling. And, given what's going on in this country politically and socially, there's a lot of intense feelings in my songs, and people will hear that when they hear the Occupy All Streets, for sure. It's the first rap I have ever written, so I want to put that out there. I did a spoken word piece on Bradley Manning, but this is really different.
I love it. Actually, and I also love the Bradley Manning piece.
Yeah, I want to hear that sometime. I haven't heard that yet.
It's fantastic, absolutely. And Moss has recorded 4 albums, and some of the tunes are available at his website. Which again is Moss Henry. That's MossHenry.com. And I love this quote from your website. You write, "Someone once told me that music prepares the soul to hear the message, and I keep that in my mind as I write. I hope you will find my music meaningful and that it will touch you in some way." And I love that, because music has always touched me and moved me in a way that nothing else could ever do. And that's kind of my sole reason of getting into the radio broadcasting field, was a love of music. I grew up listening to my parents' music, and just an instant love for something that music can do to your soul and enlighten you and move you in ways that nothing else could. And I picked up the guitar really, really young, and then that eventually led me to, I could kind of make a career out of this. Not really, but
well, that's a hard one.
Yes. But I would love to play for our listeners in its entirety from, and again, please check out the website, Moss Henry, MossHenry.com. The brand new, it's called Occupy All Streets. And again, I've played this on our show, Filter Free Radio, and on the Tom Hartman program nationwide. But I think it's so important to share this with you and share this message with you. And so I'm going to go ahead and play the song now, and we'll come back in right after the song immediately and talk a little bit about it and a little bit about the message behind it.
The kids are coming from everywhere to occupy the streets, confronting the bankers and brokers who are hiding in their fancy suites. They're staking out a territory for the 99% who've been stabbed in the back by Wall Street and betrayed by the government. The kids made a list of why they're pissed: unemployment, racism, war, corporate control of everything, a system rotten to the core, environmental destruction, and those crushing student loans, schools and healthcare broken down, foreclosures on people's homes. The revolution will not be televised, but it's alive and kicking online. Forget Fox and the major networks, they're way behind the times. It's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, videos, blogs, and texts, from cell phones, webcams, laptops, and who knows what's coming next. The revolution is on its way. It's coming to a city near you. Check your local listings for time and place and do what you have to do. Open your heart, open your mind. It's time, it's way past time. The desperately poor and the homeless are growing in every town. The middle class is sucking wind and it's close to going down. Jobs are scarce and wages are low unless you sign up for the endless wars. But fighting and dying for the empire, that's not what these kids are for. And the rich men hidden by glass and steel would like to control the scene. So they call out their boys in uniform, the teeth of their machine. So many people speaking out now are getting busted by the cops. Pepper sprayed and slammed down hard, but their voices will not be stopped. The revolution will not be televised, but it's alive and kicking online. Forget Fox and the major networks, they're way behind the times. It's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, videos, blogs, and texts, from cell phones, webcams, laptops, and who knows what's coming next. The revolution is on its way. It's coming to us. Check your local listings for time and place and do what you have to do. Open your heart, open your mind. It's time, it's way past time. The world has been waiting for those of us who are living in the belly of the beast to climb on board this train that started in the Middle East. Americans are waking up. We're tired of this ugly deal, with 1% living like kings and queens, taking everything they can steal. So the kids just keep on coming. The poor, the unemployed, those with hope for the future, and a planet that's not destroyed. Gay and straight, every color, young and old in the street. Democracy and justice on their lips, and man, the taste is sweet. The revolution will not be televised, but it's alive and kicking online. Forget Fox and the major networks, they're way behind the times. It's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, videos, blogs, and texts, from cell phones, webcams, laptops, and who knows what's coming next. The revolution is on its way. It's coming to a city near you. Check your local listings for time and place and do what you have to do. Open your heart, open your mind. It's time, it's way past time. Open your heart, open your mind. It's time, it's way past time. Way past time. Way past time. Way past time.
Again, that's Moss Henry. Again, the website, MOSSHENRY.com, and the song Occupy All Streets. And my apologies, I think we had a little bit of a technical glitch in the middle of that for a couple of seconds there. But fantastic, absolutely brilliant song with a brilliant message and a completely different genre. And I love it.
Yeah, it was a stretch. It was a stretch. But that's a good thing.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. I think it was great. And it kind of reminds me of something that my producer and I went and saw a couple of weeks ago. We went and saw Dr. Cornel West speak here at George Washington University in Washington, D.C., where I'm at. And we saw the lecture for an hour and a half, and it was amazing. I left there with so much emotions. Oh, yeah. But
one of the things he said, which is what I'm just dying to ask you, was he was saying how he didn't think the movement has found its poetry yet. It hasn't found its music yet. There's no real Bob Dylan's or fill in the blank. And honestly, I think your music does that. At least it does it for me anyway. And I was wondering what you thought about that.
Well, I like to think that my music really articulates things for progressives, and I would be happy to have people see me in that way. It's certainly my goal to articulate these things, and I have songs about some pretty heavy-duty topics, so there's a lot of intensity, there's a lot of power, and a lot of passion there, and I think there's a lot of truth there.
Yeah.
So if that's what it takes, that's what I want to do.
Well, thank you very much for it. I think that's awesome. I mean, this song right here that we just played, it's Jacob's like, hey, what bumper should I play today? And I'm like, you should play that Moss Henry song, man. That's awesome. The revolution will not be televised, but it's alive and kicking online.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting at home the other night, and it's that line right there is going through my head.
It's stuck in your head.
Yeah, well, because I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm online, man. We're doing this right now online, and this is where the revolution's going to start.
Yes.
Well, I certainly borrowed that from Gil Scott-Heron, so I definitely want to give a shout-out to him.
Oh, of
He
course.
died recently, but
yeah, all right, rest in peace.
Yes.
yeah, I think he would like what happened with that line.
Yes. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. And Moss, if you don't mind, I'd love to play another song, a particular favorite of mine, and something that I like to feature again on both my show, Filter Free Radio, and Tom Hartman program. And it's a tune called No Bottom.
Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit about kind of the political message behind this one? And I love it's such a catchy tune. You're going to love it.
This was a song I wrote after the Republicans recaptured the House in the last election.
Yes.
I felt a real sense of despair. It boggled my mind that people, after all of the damage the Republicans have done, could go ahead and vote for Republicans to the point that they put them back in control of the House. And of course, I have a lot of ire at the Democrats too, because in lots of ways they don't show up. So I think often people feel like they have two bad choices, and I certainly recognize that. But I wrote this song, and it was so dark I actually couldn't play it. I would play it for myself because it really expressed something I wanted to say, but until things happened in Wisconsin. And when things started to explode in Wisconsin and there was all this people power happening in the street and in the Capitol, I thought, oh, wait a minute, there is some hope here, and it comes from people, and it comes from activism, and it comes from the streets, really.
Right.
And so I put a note of hope in the third verse, and that enabled me to play the song for people, because I feel like there has to be some hope in order for me to make a song work. And when I was able to do that in the third verse, then I started to play it, and then I decided to record it and put it up on the website.
And that's exactly where we got it. And thank you again for making some of the music available on the website. That's just absolutely fantastic. And just because we're doing a 24-hour benefit here for Occupy and the 99% movement, and we're going to be talking a little bit about coming up next. A little bit about the Occupy camp that we're going to be featuring this hour, which is Occupy Portland, Oregon, where I'm from. I think the Occupy Wall Street movement is what hope looks like, or is what it's beginning to look like.
Yep.
And it's given me hope, and I'm becoming enthusiastic and active.
Yeah. I mean, Jacob used to say I was cynical, and now I'm excited. I love what we're doing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was really dragging for a really long time. I haven't felt this much hope or excitement in a really long time, so it kind of surprised me. I have to say that. I didn't see it coming, but I'm thrilled that it's here, and, I would like to be a part of it and support it and my music in any other way that I can.
Right. Let's go ahead and play it for our listeners here on Occuthon 2011. We're going to play one more tune from Moss. This one, again, is called No Bottom. And check out his website, mosshenry.com, MOSSHENRY. We're on Occuthon 2011. I'm Jacob Dean. We'll be right back.
Election time in the USA, another example of pay to play. 30-second sound bites making crazy claims, whipping up a frenzy with their advertising games. Big money pouring in like gasoline on flames. Democracy is up for sale, the price is still the same, no bottom. Hey, hey, there ain't no bottom. The rich are getting richer, the poor just get abused. People in the middle paying way too many dues. Jobs are going offshore, there ain't much left to lose. Most of us are trapped here by the tightening of screws. Election time is coming, there isn't much to choose. The right wing is the wrong thing, but they control the news. No bottom. Hey, hey, there ain't no bottom. There's no bottom in our politics, no bottom I can see. We celebrate the criminals and guilty men go free. Find someone to scapegoat, hang them from a tree, 'cause there ain't no bottom. Hey, hey, there ain't no bottom. The center has no backbone, the left is at a loss. Freedom's hanging by a thread like Christ upon the cross. All these politicians making deals out in the halls. Justice seems to have no legs, it barely even crawls. Everything is secret, but the camera's on the walls. Come on people, wake up, there's things we need to shake up. Things we need to break up before darkness falls. No bottom. Hey, hey, there ain't no bottom. Hey, hey, there ain't no bottom.
We're taking your calls live right now on Occuthon 2011. Call now toll free 1-866-745-2667. That's toll free. Call now 1-866-745-2667. We want to hear from you. Call Occuthon at 1-866-745-2667. And welcome back to Occuthon 2011. My name is Jacob Dean. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And this is our first segment here on Occuthon 2011. And I want to thank our fantastic guest, Moss Henry, again, the singer-songwriter. You just heard No Bottom from Moss, and also a little bit earlier we featured Occupy All Streets here on Occuthon 2011 for you. And again, I want to thank Moss so much for coming on the program with us tonight and sharing his message, and being able to simply to have that platform is something.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate it. I mean, your music actually does speak to me, and it's really, I just really appreciate having music that actually says the things that I'm thinking. So thanks, man.
Oh, Moss, are you there? Scott, you got the phone up?
Sorry, Moss fell off the line, bud.
Oh, okay. That's quite all right. My apologies, Moss, if you're listening or out there, bud. Thank you so much for calling in and doing this segment with us. If we've got Jill on Skype, let's get Jill on. And again, Occuthon 2011 is kind of still a work in progress as we're working out guests and producers and phones and everything. And Jill E. Bond, official Twitter goddess of Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick on radioornot.com, is on the line with us. And
I'm here.
Jill!
Hi.
How's it going? It's so good to talk with you.
You too, finally.
I'm so sorry. I was in a mad dash here to get everything together. I was trying to get everything ready and help Kenny do phones and
it's a lot to do.
There's so much work going on, and everybody is contributing to Occuthon 2011. And I just want to give a tip of the hat and a big thumbs up to everybody, to Nicole Sandler allowing us to do this from Radio or Not, and Kenny Pick and Danielle, the Left Neck Chick, and Shano, all working hard on production and promos and websites and booking and guests and Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh my. But I want to get Jill on, and Jill, you're going to be with us for the rest of this broadcast here, as long as we're on, and you're also going to be on a little bit later tomorrow. Was that right, with Danielle? Or
Shano, yeah.
Absolutely.
At 3 o'clock, I think.
In the morning?
In the afternoon.
Okay. I'm getting so confused. There's so much going on, and my apologies for that. But I want to thank everybody for participating and joining us. This is fantastic. All the work that's gone into this and how well it's come together is just so fantastic. I can't believe it. But,
this has been phenomenal, and everybody's so interested in doing it.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to pick up Moss, who accidentally dropped off the line. Real quick, I want to pick him up and thank him again for coming on the program. Moss, my sincerest apologies for the technical difficulties there, but are you on the line there with us?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I got you loud and clear here.
I think that was my fault in hindsight. I apologize.
That's okay. This is a big work in progress here, and obviously live broadcast. Live is best, though.
This is good. Good.
So, I wanted to thank you for coming on the program, Bud. And when we came back from the break there, I don't know how much you heard. I mentioned that it's so fantastic that we're able to share this message and have this platform to do what you do. And I wanted to thank you. And I also think it's important, like Scott had mentioned, about the Occupy movement finding its music, finding its voice.
Its poetry.
And you participating in that is absolutely brilliant, sir. So I wanted to thank you again for coming on and being with us tonight.
Well, thanks to both of you. Let me mention that, my website, when people go to the website, if they want to find the music, there's a whole bunch of the political songs they can download. There's a music button. You put your mouse over the music button. There's a little drop-down menu. Mm-hmm. And Left Coast will be one option. That's where the political songs are. Left Coast. I'm from Portland, Oregon, so that rings true.
Left Coast is the best coast, right?
Near and dear to me. Moss, I want to thank you again, Bud, for coming on, and we'll be in touch soon. Maybe we'll get you on a filter-free radio sometime and keep us up to date with new tunes, and we'll get them out there and spread the word.
I'd like to continue the conversation for sure. So.
Okay, that'd be great.
Terrific. And again, the website is mosshenry.com, mosshenry.com. Again, have a good night, Moss, and thanks for joining us, Bud.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
And that was absolutely fantastic. And on that note, my apologies to both Moss and Jill for technical difficulties in the first segment. I think we're up and running now, and we can make it through the next 2.5 hours. Sounds good?
We can go 6 hours, man.
Okay.
Let's do it.
We're going 24 hours tonight.
We'll do it live.
Do it live with PG-13 Bill O'Reilly sound clip
no, that's not the best part. I'm sorry.
No, that's quite all right. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Occuthon 2011, Jill E. Bond. We're going to talk with Jill E. Bond when we come back, and we've got more guests and things to come up, so stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hi, friends. This is Tom Hartman. Thank you for supporting Occuthon 2011 and giving power back to the people. This is Occuthon 2011, a 24-hour internet broadcast to benefit local Occupy charities across the nation.
Occupy Wall Street all day, all week.
Thank you for supporting Occuthon 2011. This is what democracy looks like.
Began with a small protest on Wall Street in Lower Manhattan here in New York, has grown to demonstrations nationwide.
Occupy Wall Street protesters identified themselves as the 99% that will no longer tolerate the greed and corruption of the 1%.
From New York to L.A., even up in Maine, people took to the streets to make sure their message is heard.
Don't forget the live and interactive Radio or Not Ustream chat room where you can always be part of the conversation. And they'll be taking your calls live during the Occuthon. Occuthon.com for more information. Occuthon.com. Occuthon 2011 from Radio or Not. You're listening to and watching Occuthon 2011 live.
Come experience the next generation of progressive voices every weekday night on Nicole Sandler's primetime lineup at RadioOrNot.com. Liberate yourself with filter-free radio, hosted by Jacob Dean every Monday night.
It's just the system is broken. Just bring it down, bring it all down, right?
On Wednesdays, rediscover the progressive South on Left in Dixie with the Left Neck Chick.
Because, you know what? I think change is coming to this country. Don't you guys?
Get your progressive groove on Thursday nights with Funked in the Head, hosted by Shano.
It's not that people are asking for something that is unreasonable. It's that we're hopeful that we can have an even shot too.
Then let it all hang out both Tuesday and Friday nights on Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick.
You love the Constitution so much, but you hate the government, but you love the corporations. Where does that come from?
Tune in every weekday night to the primetime Radio or Not lineup at the Ustream home of Nicole Sandler, RadioOrNot.com.
Hi, friends. This is Tom Hartman. You're listening to and watching Occuthon 2011 live.
And welcome back to Occuthon 2011. My name is Jacob Dean. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a little bit smoother half an hour, I promise you. We are live broadcasting on many affiliates, Free Speech TV, Blip TV, RadioOrNot.com, WKRP Radio. Yes, turkeys are flying. I'm just kidding. SoFlowRadio.com. TalkRadio1.com, 97.9 FM, Voice of the Resistance, and also on all of the Radio or Not evening host websites. Thank you so much for joining us. Jill E. Bond is with me. Hello, Jill. I haven't gotten to, and my apologies for, again, all of the technical difficulties there. How are you doing tonight?
I'm very good. I'm really happy to be here and be a part of this.
And thank you so much for joining us. This is fantastic. How everyone's.
I want to be on with Jacob because I haven't been on with Jacob before.
I know, and we've never gotten to talk or have fun or anything. And I definitely want to talk to you because, correct me if I'm wrong, but you were just at the Sexy Liberal show.
I was.
And I want to talk to you about that.
All right, great.
So we're definitely going to get into that a little bit and some other stuff. And also, Jill, allow me to introduce to you my fantastic co-host who's with me on Filter Free Radio. His name is Scott. Jill, Scott.
It's very nice to meet you.
Hi, Scott.
So I'm sorry I messed up earlier.
It's okay. Quit. Nobody will know if you don't say anything.
That's right.
Let's not rehash that. Let's move on, shall we?
First time producer in the hot seat there, so
yes,
that's
sir.
fantastic. And I want to welcome also to the show with us for this segment a brilliant writer for Fire Dog Lake, and I'm a big fan of Fire Dog Lake in Jane, Hampshire. I'm in Washington, D.C. I've met Jane. I've met Jane at a couple of protests against the XL Keystone Pipeline in D.C. But that's a different story. But on the line with us, a writer of Fire Dog Lake is Kevin Gosztola. And Kevin, please correct me if I'm mispronouncing your name.
It's Gosztola.
Gosztola, thank you. And thank you for joining us in the Occuthon this evening. I want to mention real quick that Kevin is a writer and publisher at Fire Dog Lake's blog, The Dissenter. He was a former intern for The Nation magazine, which I love that. It's fantastic. Love John Nichols and everyone at The Nation. He's also a producer of the weekly podcast This Week in WikiLeaks, which is in the news with the, Julius Assange is recently in the news again, and
Bradley Manning, let's not forget.
Bradley Manning, and just a week ago was the 1-year anniversary of WikiLeaks releasing the cables, but I digress. Kevin, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, and not to digress too much, but it was really heartening for me, or I guess really great, because two things I've been following closely this entire year actually merged today with an Occupy Wall Street bus showing up at Fort Meade to support Bradley Manning during the pre-trial hearing. And that's where I spent most of my day today. But it was just so amazing. Just another example of how Occupy is able to give voice to certain issues. Sometimes they have nothing to do with the core message of Occupy.
And I also want to mention, Kevin, you're basically the Occupy man-on-the-street reporter for Fire Dog Lake. You've been to, how many Occupy camps have you been to, Kevin?
I'm thinking it's somewhere around 20 camps.
Oh, my goodness, that's fantastic. One of the things that I would love to ask you about is what have you observed or have taken away from certain camps that could be used at other camps or things like that to help kind of, unite the movement to its ultimate potential?
Well, I do think that I've talked in isolation to different individuals, and each one seems to be grappling with issues that have to do with homelessness. And one of the things that I have found is, and you do a show, so you follow how the right wing is picking up on Occupy Wall Street.
Oh,
and
course.
Most of the messaging turns it around on the Occupy people and makes it seem like they should be guilty for welcoming the homeless people into their movement. These are the bottom 1% of society, and they are some of the most marginalized people, and they all bring their own baggage to these camps. And it means inevitably you're going to have situations where there are drug overdoses, you're going to have assaults, you'll probably have sexual assaults. I guarantee women are going to be uncomfortable around some of these people, but you want to try to work with them and maybe give them a chance to be a part of the movement, or maybe find a way to get them to services in the city. And I think that what all of these camps really need to do is be diligent and turn it around again, and turn it into a city issue, because it's not Occupy's fault that they can't take care of these people. It's the city's fault that in these times when state budgets are being cut, a lot of cities have had to sacrifice sort of homeless services. So you're seeing most of these people who are homeless, some of them do come to the camps because they'd rather be there instead of partake in the social services. They say they get better service at the Occupy camps. Some of them even feel more comfortable being in the Occupy camps.
I think that's really important. We on my show a couple of weeks ago, we spoke with a younger female intern here in Washington D.C. who, as a project for school and her internship, did a report. She is interning in news reporting. Was down at Occupy D.C. and spent the night there with a couple friends, and kind of did a report on it. And I spoke with her. I interviewed her on my show for a couple of minutes, and one of the things that stuck out to me was she made it absolutely clear that at about 75% of the time she didn't feel safe there. But that is, I would say, kind of contrary to everything else that's been going on, specifically at Occupy D.C. I've been down there 2 or 3 times a week, but again, is different circumstances. And
it is a little different than sleeping there. I mean, that's I think that's sort of the point of the encampments themselves, is to sort of give space for protest, and then people can come and join as they may, and others will stay there permanently. So.
And what I'd like to add to that is I think more participation simply is my ultimate goal. More participation, more awareness, more education of the truth. And I would just add that if you're not able to spend the night at the camp, showing up simply for a few hours, having a conversation, holding up a sign, participating, becoming active, and if you're not able to show up, give the gift of your voice and use the 555 plan, which I've coined, tell 5 friends, they'll tell 5 friends, they'll tell 5 friends. And it's a grassroots, bottom-up activism in blossom, beautiful sight to see.
It's not necessary to spend the night. You don't have to do that to make a point.
Right. Absolutely.
No, it's just sort of it's providing space. And I wanted to ask Kevin, what's the main thing you got out of traveling? You've seen more camps than it sounds like anybody. What's the constant thread through all of them?
Well, I do think that it's about owning space and being able to build a community. A lot of people who don't like this tactic of occupying now because it has become cumbersome for some of the Occupy groups that have been run out by cities, think that this is something that the movement could just abandon and move on and do something else. And I think they're forgetting that this is how Occupy became such a force to be reckoned with. The whole idea that they were going to go take over public space and reclaim it was really why people started taking note of the fact that there was this new Occupy movement that was taking action. And so everywhere that I go, people are doing, they're mimicking Occupy Wall Street. So everyone wants to have a library. Everyone wants to have some way to provide food. Everyone wants to have media tent. They're modeling it off. It's about building democracy. And it's about having this sort of, quasi-utopia that they can enjoy because their city isn't providing for them, so they've decided that they're going to create their own little society that can provide what is necessary to survive. And even in some cases, you've seen unemployed people who it would seem are just pulling out of the system and saying, as long as I can get by, then I don't have to do this day-to-day struggle anymore, and I'm just going to be a full-time occupier and live off food that people are donating and live off having my tent, and I'm going to enjoy myself and enjoy the fact that I'm now part of something that is really a massive uprising in the United States.
I love what you said about coming together kind of communally as a community. And each one of the camps that I've experienced, I've been to a couple in D.C. and back in Portland, Oregon. I think that just simply the experience of community deepens the yearning for a new culture, which is something that we're in desperate need of. And that's what I view Occupy Wall Street as a culture strike, as Matt Taibbi and Rolling Stone is noted to. And I would add, a radically inclusive, everyone's invited, respectful, supportive, horizontal culture and community experience, a new culture. But in the last couple of minutes we have, Kevin, and I want to mention for anyone who's just joining us, we're speaking with Kevin Gosztola of Fire Dog Lake. The website is dissenter.firedoglake.com. My apologies. dissenter.firedoglake.com. Kevin, what would you say to everyone listening right now who's not necessarily active in the movement, but is thinking about getting active, and what would you tell them one of the first couple of steps that they should do that you think would be most effective and most helpful to the movement?
Well, let me give them a really real way that they can make an impact, because Fire Dog Lake has spearheaded this thing called Occupy Supply. And so this is part of what I was doing when I went around to all these encampments. Besides being a reporter, I was also delivering donations to various camps. So if I could quickly list off some of the things that I delivered, I bought tents and sleeping bags and pizza for Louisville. We brought 4 generators for the people in Occupy Des Moines. We were able to purchase tents and sleeping bags for Occupy STL before they got evicted. And we were able to purchase heavy-duty cold-weather sleeping bags for Occupy Fort Wayne, and we also got some to Occupy Bloomington. And so all of these places that I've gone to, at Occupy Albany, they needed a lot of batteries. I took some supplies there, but we also streamlined this. We got the UCFW union making all this gear that's coming through, and so we're making socks, we're making gloves, we've got sweaters, we've got special jackets, we've got heavy-duty sleeping bags, we've got lots of gear that are going to help these occupiers survive through the winter. And on the website, we've got the insignia. Also, there's actually an Occupy. If you just type Occupy Supply, it's going to come up. And this campaign here that we're doing is completely to make sure that this lasts through the winter, because that's what we would like to see this continue. And so this is a real way that Americans can tap into helping this sustain itself, because if they don't think they can go down there and occupy, if they're not sure that they can spend the time to protest, well, then they surely could spend some time pulling a few dollars out of their wallet and donating to make sure that the people who are on the front lines can stay warm and continue to do what they're doing.
Well said, Kevin. And again, I want to thank you for all of your awesome work at Fire Dog Lake and what Fire Dog Lake is doing. That's brilliant. Occupy Supply. I love it. And it rhymes. If it rhymes, it sells. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us on Occuthon tonight. And I hope to stay in contact and maybe get you on Filter Free Radio sometime soon.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Have a good night. Everyone, Kevin Gosztola of Fire Dog Lake. Again, the website, dissenter.firedoglake.com. Say that 10 times fast. I dare you. No. This is Occuthon, and I'm just so happy to be here. My name is Jacob Dean. With me, Jilly Bond and Skeptical Scott. This hour, we are featuring, and I've only mentioned it once, so my apologies. This is a work in progress, as you see. So, but this hour we're featuring Occupy Portland, and kind of the ultimate theme of Occuthon 2011 is a live 24-hour interactive broadcast. We're taking your phone calls live. I got calls on hold. We're gonna, if you're listening on hold, we're gonna call in. Okay, yeah, we'll take Allie in just a second here. Allie's on hold, Jill, and and we're taking your calls live. 866-745-2667. This hour and every hour, we're going to be featuring a different camp, which we would like you and encourage you to give what you can to that, or a camp of your choice. Simply go to occupytogether.org and find your local camp. You could even start your own camp. I want to talk a little bit later about ways to support the movement Occupy Wall Street, and starting your own camp is one of them. But supporting this hour, we're supporting Occupy Portland. The website is occupyportland.org. That's Portland, Oregon, my hometown where I'm from. What a coincidence, Jacob. Your first hour is your hometown.
Yeah, funny how that works.
Well produced. No.
And then we have Occupy Erie that would like to shout out as well. occupyerie.org.
Yes, absolutely. And one thing I would like to encourage callers to call in about is their local Occupy camp. Have you given to your Occupy camp? What did you give? Call us. We'll take your calls, absolutely, all night long. But Occupy Portland is the website for our first camp. And please check out occupyportland.org. And I want to emphasize, just as Kevin was just saying, Kevin from Fire Dog Lake, it's not just money. They probably need money even less than they need supplies. Things like clothing, winter gear, socks, gloves, sleeping bags, coats,
legal fees,
food.
Yeah,
food.
Legal fees.
Food's a good thing. I like to eat.
Food.
Yeah, I noticed they had the 3 different categories on occupyportland.org. And it was one was legal fees. I think one was food. I think the other one was supplies. I'm looking
at the website right now, occupyportland.com, and you can about midways down the page on the right-hand side, you can click on the red little box that links to, and it says contribute to the Occupy Portland General Fund, or the Legal Defense Fund, or the Parks Restoration Fund. And as an environmentalist from Portland, I would consider giving to the Parks Restoration Fund. But that's just me. Let's go ahead and get Allie on the line with us here. And Allie is calling in from Cleveland, and she wants to mention that her Twitter, if you'd like to follow her on Twitter, is @WatergateSummer. And also Jill on Twitter, the official Twitter goddess of Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick. Jill, your Twitter is @JillEBond on Twitter.
Correct.
So.
Yeah.
Just in case anyone wants to follow. Allie's on the line with us. Hello, Allie. Thanks for calling Occuthon.
Oh, thank you for doing this. I'm really glad you're doing this and getting support to all the different Occupy groups. I think it's awesome.
Thank you, and absolutely, thanks so much for calling in. And do I have this correct, Allie, that you happen to be a friend of Jill?
I am a friend of Jill.
Excellent.
True.
Now,
and actually, I am one of the people that actually nagged her to come to Twitter.
Yes.
It's a true story. Yep.
I'm applauding on air for you.
Oh,
Shit.
thank you.
It was Allie and my sister. They nagged me, and I got on finally.
It's it's addictive. It really is.
I love it. It worked out very
really
well.
is a goddess. She's a Twitter goddess. She really is. She's a pro. She had it down pat like within days. She's amazing. So.
And it's a brilliant tool that's already been well demonstrated for movements, things like Occupy and 99% movements, and using it as a tool for communication.
Yeah. No, I mean, it really, it was where Egypt was on fire last year. I mean, it was amazing. It was stunning. And I think it's really helped Occupy, too. I really do. I think it's been a godsend.
Yeah.
So, would you like an update from Cleveland, Occupy?
Oh, yes, please. Tell us about Occupy Cleveland.
Yeah, I know you were supposed to talk about Portland, but I'm not I'm not up in Portland this week.
I'm sorry. I want to talk about every Occupy camp, all of them, and especially I would love you to call in and tell us about your local Occupy camp as well. But
okay. Well, I'm not down there every day. I go like once a week. I'm a nurse, so I supplied their medical bag and their medical supplies. There are other nurses that have been going down doing the same thing and taking them Mylanta and Maalox for the bag. Originally, we were taking it down and putting it in the bag for making pepper spray antidote, but it turns out that they've actually been using it. So, and then also we've been taking them food and winter clothes. What else have we been taking them? We've made them cookies. Like right now, I'm making them cookies because it's Friday night.
I love it, and it's the holidays.
Yeah, I wanted to take them Christmas cookies. We've had a couple trial batches. You can ask Jill. I'm the queen of burning cookies. Actually, you can hear my dog in the background trying to get in the oven, which is so embarrassing. Anyway,
and I'm the king of food tester on burnt batches. So.
Oh, well, there you go. See, you would love this kitchen. You would love how many batches I have burned already. So, but anyway, our bench are people. They're just great. They're downtown. They're in Public Square. They have been amazing. They've really stuck it out. We've had really horrible weather, and they only have one tent. They're not allowed to have real tents. They just have the one tent they use for everything. So I think they got a little bit of cabin fever down there. They could really use some visits, and anybody can go down there and visit them, bring them books, bring them some music, just bring them food, just bring them some company. I mean, they really appreciate it. And they're just a really good bunch. They had kind of a hard week. They did an Occupy an eviction this week, and it didn't quite go. It was kind of sad. I'll just say that. They tried to help a family that's been fighting eviction since 2008, and the sheriff won. Let's just put it that way. So, but there'll be more. There'll be more to try. So, but they're doing a really, really good job educating people about the banks and some of the activity that led to the foreclosure mess, and they've had a lot of really good marches. So they're a really good group of people. So anyway,
the biggest struggle is getting the message across to people, though. That from what I picked up is people still don't understand what Occupy is all about.
Well, I think it's sad. I think it's going to take some time, and I think really it's about educating people. It's not like the media is helping right now either.
No, they're not.
And
the corporate media will never help.
And that's why we're here.
Right.
There you go.
Exactly right.
Yeah, independent media. Internet radio rocks and is doing its job, and I'm just really grateful for that.
And I would argue, going off on that, Allie, that like just simply educating or speaking the truth or participating in the 555 plan, telling 5 friends and telling 5 friends and telling 5 friends, educating in the truth is a real solution. solidifying the understanding of the truth is a real solution. And a little bit later, I'm going to talk about what real solutions are versus short-term solutions. Things like raising taxes on the rich, which is a short-term solution, or these things, which should be done for short-term corrections, but it doesn't really tackle, the big 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is inequality and the deep understanding of equal society and what that means, and community and loving each other. But
a lot of people just didn't understand it when it first started, and usually on the weekends I do a hashtag, I do Why We Occupy, and I put up statistics of why this is going on, because once you start talking numbers, people start to understand what and who the 99% are. Like if you start saying, how many foreclosed homes there have been since 2005, it's more than 8 million, by the way.
Yeah.
And if you start 235,000 vets back from war zones with no job, once you start putting the statistics out there, people are horrified. 46 million living in poverty, 49 million on food stamps. The numbers really take your breath away.
Right.
And, once you start doing that, people go, oh, now I get it. And so, like, that, I try to do that, and I think other people have started looking at the statistics and posting them, too. I'm not the only person who's been doing that. And then,
great thing to do.
Allow me to shamelessly plug what I would call the Jacobs Occupy Wall Street 99% movement memo, or kind of really manifesto of something that I compiled from Yes Magazine, a book that they put out called Occupy Wall Street, the 99% movement, and this changes everything. And it's available for you to look out for absolutely free on our website, Occuthon.com. But any voice that we can get to echo is great.
Yeah, I'll shamelessly plug that. And I'm going to shamelessly plug, I'm on a radio show on Sunday nights. It's called AWOP Radio. It's a World of Progress Radio. And it's with Kim and Perry. And we do something called the 99 Report. And I will be sure to plug the Occuthon as well. I'll do that there.
Oh, you should have mentioned that, Allie, the right off the top.
Right.
She got it in there.
Yes, and I want to thank you so much for coming on and talking with us for a minute. Can you please tell us the website of AWOP Radio?
It's Blog Talk Radio. It's
right.
AWOP Radio, 7 to 9 p.m. on Sunday nights. I don't know the address off the top of my head.
Oh, that's fine. That's
Google it.
Yes, it's on the Googles. I promise you. Google knows everything.
I post a write-up every weekend about what we're having on our show every week. We've been pretty much doing just Occupy for weeks on end. We really have. We've been trying to cover it nationwide.
That's great.
And because Kim's down in North Carolina, Perry's in California, and I'm up by the lake. So we try to have people call in from New York City, Oakland, Portland, Seattle,
coast to coast.
Coast to coast.
That's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, it's great.
That's what you're doing. You're doing a big.
That's great.
You're much better than
blogtalkradio.com/AWOP.
AWOP. AWOP.
Don't tell Kim I didn't know the address.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm going to be in the doghouse.
It's all right. Allie, thanks so much for calling. And
thanks for calling, Allie.
Thank you for doing this. Yeah, thank you.
And hang around. Give us a shout later too. Absolutely.
Well, I'm calling in later in the middle of the night to pester Rain 1967.
Perfect.
I told her I'd pester her. Make sure she stays awake. Throw some coffee her way. So.
Fantastic.
But thank you for doing this. I'm really grateful to you all. Thank you.
All right.
Bye, Allie.
Thanks so much, Allie. And I think we've got time for one more call really quick. I want to take, it looks like, I think this is Vic. Vic, hello?
Oh, hello.
Hey, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you Vic from the Radio or Not chat room, one of our best listeners and favorite people. And Vic, you are the reason that Occuthon is part of Free Speech TV and Blip TV.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty impressed. It's pretty incredible.
What's on your mind tonight? Did you call in about local Occupy?
No. Well, you're talking to Moss Henry and about how he uses his music to spread his message, and
yeah.
Well, I don't know. There's a song on my mind is from this band from the UK.
Oh, yeah?
Marchiba. Marchiba. It's the music that we hear.
The music that we hear.
Yeah, and the lyrics, I think, are going to blow your mind. Let me read them.
Well, we'll check it out. And thanks for the heads up on that, Vic.
Oh, yeah. It's like sometimes I get up feeling good, but greed gets me down. Well, the thing is, it's not a political song, but I know it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's way cool, Vic. I'm sorry to cut it short. We are up against the top of the hour, and we've got to take a quick break. But I want to give Vic a shout out and personal thank you from me to you for getting us involved with Free Speech TV on Occuthon. We'll be right back. We've got some fantastic stuff coming up. We're going to be simulcasting with the Mike Malloy Show in the next segment nationwide on terrestrial radio right here on Occuthon with Brad Friedman. Don't go anywhere.
Radio or Not presents the 24-hour non-stop broadcasting event of the year, Occuthon, supporting the Occupy Wall Street movement and the 99%. Occuthon 2011 starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, Friday, December 16th, and will be live non-stop until Saturday, December 17th. Occuthon.com for more information. We'll be highlighting Occupy charities all across the country and giving you all the information so you can show your support for the Occupy movement. Plus, numerous guests will be stopping by to chat and will be taking your calls live during the Occuthon. Don't forget the live and interactive Radio or Not Ustream chat room where you can always be a part of the conversation. Don't miss this amazing chance to help support Occupy Wall Street and the 99 movement directly. Occuthon 2011, 7 p.m. Eastern, Friday, December 16th until 7 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, December 17th. Visit Occuthon.com for more information. That's OCCUTHON.com. Occuthon.com. Occuthon 2011 from Radio or Not.
Come experience the next generation of progressive voices every weekday night on Nicole Sandler's primetime lineup at RadioOrNot.com. Liberate yourself with filter-free radio, hosted by Jacob Dean every Monday night.
It's just the system is broken. Bring it down. Bring it all down, right?
On Wednesdays, rediscover the progressive South on Left in Dixie with the Left Neck Chick.
Because, you know what? I think change is coming to this country. Don't you guys?
Get your progressive groove on Thursday nights with Funked in the Head, hosted by Shano.
It's not that people are asking for something that is unreasonable. It's that we're hopeful that we can have an even shot too.
Then let it all hang out both Tuesday and Friday nights on Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick.
You love the Constitution so much, but you hate the government, but you love the corporations. Where does that come from?
Tune in every weekday night to the primetime Radio or Not lineup at the Ustream home of Nicole Sandler, RadioOrNot.com.
Began with a small, disorganized protest on Wall Street in Lower Manhattan here in New York has grown to demonstrations nationwide.
Occupy Wall Street protesters identified themselves as the 99% that will no longer tolerate the greed and corruption of the 1%. There seems to be no turning back as demonstrators express their outrage at what they call the injustices of the U.S. economic system.
Occupy Wall Street! All day, all day!
But what exactly is their message?
I hope that the system changes towards inclusion, and that's it. And that's what I love about this so far, is that people are peaceful, they're respectful, and that it seems to come from a place of love. And that's where you want to be.
Occuthon 2011, Voices United for the 99%. Raising awareness, funds, and eyebrows, this is Occuthon 2011.
This is Occuthon 2011. Voices United for the 99%. 24 hours of internet radio to benefit local Occupy charities across the nation. Occuthon.com. And now, your host, Jacob Dean.
And welcome back to Occuthon. Jacob Dean here with you. Proudly broadcasting on Occuthon.com, Free Speech TV, Blip TV, RadioOrNot.com, WKRP Radio, SoFloRadio.com, TalkRadio1.com, 97.1 FM. the voice of the resistance, and as well as all of the Radio or Not evening host websites, filterfreeradio.com, kennypick.com, shane-o.com, and theleftneckchick.com, proudly being participating in Occuthon, which is, I would call, a symbol to the meta, which is we need to participate in the Occupy movement in general. With me is Jilly Bond and my producer, fantastic. You just got me a cup of water, Scott. Thank you. He is. I mean, we're all working hard, and I am not one to. But oh my goodness. So
maybe there's a little vodka in there.
Yeah. Well, we're going to be taking quite a long break, and coming up right after me, again, this is Occuthon is 24 hours. We're not stopping. Up next is Danielle, the Left Neck Chick. She's going to rock it for a couple of hours. Shano, back to Kenny Pick. I'll be around sometime after that. No, the complete schedule and all of the guests, by the way, is at Occuthon.com. John Fugelsang, Brad Friedman, Sam Cedar, Jason Leopold, Tina Dupuy, Hal Sparks, David Packman, Steph, well, my bad, I went too far. Maybe, we don't know. But there's a whole bunch of people. Matter of fact, I'm going to cross that name off my list. But we have so much coming up on Occuthon. It is a work in progress, and all of us are working so hard for you, for your enjoyment.
It's like the Jerry Lewis Telethon, only on the internet with young people.
Yes. And for Occupy, please visit occupytogether.org, find a local camp, and donate to the camp. If you can't donate money, donate goods or services. Come down to the camp and volunteer for an hour, passing out food or something. Or and if you can't even do that, simply participating in the 555 plan. We have to understand that what we're working towards and for is something that's going to be grassroots, bottom up. It's not going to come from the top down. It's not going to come from the corporate media. It's going to come from independent voices that you find on the internet and other places, other outlets around you. And simply the 555 plan is tell 5 friends, they tell 5 friends, and they tell 5 friends, and grassroots, it goes up. It's magic.
It'll work.
Learn it, know it, live it.
So, and I just want to mention again, coming up in just a couple of minutes, we will be broadcasting live on the Mike Malloy Show, which is going to be an honor and a privilege. I've been a fan of Mike Malloy. I mean, I'm aware of the IE America radio days, the Air America radio days, and I've loved Mike ever since working for Tom Hartman and listening on AM 620 KPOJ in Portland. A shout out to those folks. But that's going to be a heck of a deal. And Brad Friedman, who we've had on Filter Free Radio before, is hosting Mike Malloy. And Brad's been so kind to do this with us. So we'll be simulcasting Occuthon on the Mike Malloy Show and the Mike Malloy Show on Occuthon as one coming together. How cool is that? I'm
very cool.
I'm speechless. Let's take Joe and Scott. You guys want to take a call here? Take a call with me?
Yeah. Absolutely. We got Kevin in Louisville on the line.
Yeah, let's take Kevin. Kevin in Louisville, thank you so much for calling into Occuthon, bud.
Well, hello, Jacob. Thanks for your time. I want to give a shout-out to Kentucky Dave, and you might think about what he's thinking about doing next time. You could do it right now for this 24-hour marathon. Wear the pins. Because, he spent 9 hours on that rooftop, and when he got punched in the belly, he just about went all over himself. I want to give you an update, if I could, on Occupy Louisville.
That sounds great, bud.
Yeah, I'm at OL Tough Dude. That's my name on Twitter.
Oil?
We're going strong.
OL is in Occupy Louisville.
Yeah, Occupy Louisville.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and we're going strong at 5th and Muhammad Ali, center of downtown Louisville. However, we got notice today that our permit will be will stop at the end of the year. We'll have to renegotiate for another permit, but if they do issue a permit from the Public Works Department, it'll be issued, but we will be not allowed to put up tents. Right now we have around 30 to 40 tents up. As you know, some of the issues that we deal with is the homelessness. Louisville is the Riviera of homelessness in the United States. There's 11,000 homeless people that are accounted for in the city of Louisville. However, we have working poor that are in our encampment with even young people.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we have great logistics, super kitchen that's set up down there with a huge tent, great volunteers that come in. We have many weekly forums throughout the week. Of course, we have our GAs. With the cool weather coming in, it may not be every day at 12 o'clock, but typically it's at 12 and 7 p.m. like it is nationwide. We also have a porta pot down there, which is nice. We're in the middle of downtown. We have access to, food, conventionaires coming by, information.
Well, Kevin,
Go ahead.
Yeah, it sounds like other than possibly losing the permit at the end of the year and the tents, which we've seen these kind of crackdowns, these military style crackdowns happening all over the country in different camps. Portland, Oregon was broken up, and many other places. I like to mention that Occupy DC here in Washington DC, where I'm at, started on October 1st. And, due to all of that, Occupy DC hasn't been evicted, hasn't been given any notices as such. And I think the culture in Washington, DC, it's more accepting of protesting and exercising your First Amendment rights. They kind of deal with this thing in DC all the time. But as we see these crackdowns begin to happen nationwide, disparity is not an option, to steal a line from a radio host that I know. We cannot give up. That is so important that we never give up. And even if they say, we can't be there, with tents, we can't be sleeping overnight, well, then simply participating and following the park rules, showing up when the park opens and leaving when the park closes, complying with whatever makes them happy and still maintaining some sort of physical presence, and thinking of different places to occupy and different tactics and what's going to be most effective.
If I might add, Kevin from Firedall Lake came down, and I heard him speak earlier, very supportive, and we are dealing with city issues. We're dealing directly with feeding the poor, keeping them armed, clothing them, housing them. So, yes, we'll continue to do what we need to do 24 hours a day, 24/7 down there, with or without tents. But they need to know also, last thing I want to tell you was,
go ahead.
You get on to the next caller, Chief White just left Louisville. He's now out in Denver. We're nervous about whatever. We have an interim chief in here now. I hope that the city of Louisville and the mayor select one that will be at least reasonable, compassionate, and concerned about the city of Louisville and Occupy Louisville. So thank you, Jacob. I'll let you get on to your next call.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for the call. Keep us up to date, and never give up. Spread the word.
Thanks for reporting on it.
We won't.
Okay.
Tough dude. Bye-bye.
There we go. Thanks. And
man.
that was terrific. Oh, fantastic. Participate. We are always taking
live reports from around the country. This is awesome.
We'll take your calls live all evening. We've got another hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes here. Coming up in this segment that we're going to be with you, next we're going to be simulcasting with Mike Malloy and Brad Friedman. On the Mike Malloy show, Mike is, of course, off and Brad's filling in, but that's in itself is amazing. We're going to be speaking with Brian Stetten of the Florida Progressive Democrats of America, and I'd love to engage Jill and Brian in a conversation about what's going on down in Florida. And also we're going to get an update from Greg and Occupy Salem in Oregon. And Tina Dupuy is going to be stopping by from Crooks and Liars. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, not a bad party.
It's
we
a
got
party.
a pretty full show tonight. Thank you very much, Shano. Shout out to Shano.
Jill, you're down in Florida, and something that just came through Florida is the Stephanie Miller Sexy Liberal show, which is on tour, the comedy tour. The album just came out and is from
at number 24, I think.
That's great.
Yeah.
How was the show? Did you have fun? What was it like?
Oh, it was so much fun. It was in Fort Lauderdale. And, they're so spot on with their comedy. I mean, they're so politically aware, but yet they make it so funny. It's amazing. And Fugelsang is just unbelievable how funny he is and how witty, how quick. He does this marvelous riff on Chris Matthews, and he just goes on and never takes a breath, and I can't believe he can actually get through the whole thing. And I believe that's probably on the album. But it's hilarious. And they were just nice as could be. You got to meet them after the show, and they were just so polite to everybody that came up to them and talked to them. I was watching, and they were just phenomenal people.
Well, allow me to mention that John himself, John Fugelsang, is going to be live on Occuthon a little bit later in the program, so you can check Occuthon.com, the website, for more information. Also, Hal Sparks, it's a possibility that Hal's going to be on Occuthon as well, and if my notes are correct, I might get an opportunity to speak with Hal, so we will
that'd be great.
We will see. Let the powers to be do as they wish, and we'll keep our fingers crossed.
No, it's a fabulous show. If it ever comes to your area, you need to go.
Yeah, and one of the things that Stephanie Miller's Sexy Liberal Show is really good about is they have multiple Facebook pages and fan sites for different cities around the country of different cities that want them to come to that city. And I'm a member of, I believe I'm a moderator of the DC Come to DC page, but we're waiting. I'm here, and it's going to be a blast. We actually had Stephanie Miller on the Tom Hartman program today for a brief minute to plug the album and to plug an appearance that she's going to be making in Portland, Oregon, on the Sexy Liberal tour coming up in just a couple of weeks, actually. So unfortunately, I'm going to be flying back to Portland for the holidays for Christmas, but I'm going to miss the show there. They're not coming to DC. Not yet, is what I'm told. So relax.
It might happen.
If I can interject, if I may, that this hour is brought to you by Occupy Fort Worth.
Yes, let's mention that. Again, if you're interested, please visit occupytogether.com. Or excuse me, .org. Occupytogether.org is the website, and that's the site that links to and makes you able to find all the other local sites around you. And we're doing Occupy Fort Worth, Texas this hour, and I picked this and asked to be given the Fort Worth city specifically because. Or just somewhere down in Texas, or and I'm happy that Kevin, or was it Kevin? Yeah, Kevin that called in from Louisville, Kentucky. But I think it's important that places like Fort Worth, who you would think probably doesn't have the support as a city like Portland or DC would have, I think it's important that you focus your donations on camps that really need it and be most effective with your choices of what to give. And I want to talk about Occupy Fort Worth, the website occupyfortworth.org. Please consider giving them a look and donate what you can. And I know that, it's the holiday season and there's a lot of giving going on. And the 99%, we don't have much to give. And I understand that. And I want to thank everyone who is giving and doing what they can. That's so important to do. And at the same time, don't feel bad that, if you can't and you're feeling bad about it, participate in the 555 plan. That's giving your voice. One of the most important things that you can give to the movement is your voice. Simply telling friends about it, telling friends about independent progressive voices that you found, things outside the corporate media that could be more educating and enlightening and informative for you. Things like radioornot.com, soulflowradio.com, talkradio1.com, radioornot.com, occuthon.com, free speech TV. What am I missing? WKRP Radio. As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
That's my favorite line from that. I really miss Mr. Carlson. So should we take some calls here, Jacob?
Yeah, well, let's let's take another call here. Who's been on hold the longest? That seems fair. Diane calling from looks like Kentucky here. Danielle, Diane, you're live on the air on Occuthon.
Hello there. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. I'm enjoying your show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for doing this. This is great.
It's my pleasure. It's our pleasure. And don't just thank me. I mean, there's a lot of people working their tails off for this. Believe me.
Thanks to everyone there that's putting their efforts to this. I really appreciate it, as does every person out here that has a passion for this this cause. And it's actually something that's bringing the entire world together, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight. I have used Twitter very little in the past, and as I started getting involved with the Occupy movement, I'm in Louisville, Kentucky, and we have hashtag Occupy Louisville is our hashtag on Twitter.
Okay.
And I'm pretty much homebound right now, so I can't do a lot of I can't do marching and that type of thing. So what I do is I keep in contact with all of the other Occupies around the world. And, I do a lot of reading and research. I'll sit down in the morning with my cereal, and the next thing I know, I'll look up and it's 6:45 p.m. And I've been on there all day long just reading and educating myself and passing on the information to people, to the people that I follow or that follow me.
That's great.
But I just think that we have so many tools that are available to us, such as Twitter and Facebook, and of course the email accounts, that allow people to participate in this.
Right.
Some people, the people that have jobs and work and can't be out there every day.
Diane,
they can still participate.
That's fantastic, Diane, and I want to thank you for calling in. My apologies for cutting it short. Please feel free to give us a call a little bit later in the program. I want to get to, right now, we've got on the line Brad Friedman, who's hosting the Mike Malloy Show, which is nationally syndicated on radio stations across the United States. He's on the line with us, and in just a couple of minutes here, we're going to be simulcasting live on the Mike Malloy Show nationwide to affiliates of the Mike Malloy Show with Brad Friedman and Desi Doyle. So, Scott, what's the update on that, buddy?
Oh, hey, Jake.
Oh, Brad Friedman, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, how are you, brother?
I'm doing fantastic, Brad. How about yourself, bud?
We're doing okay. We're going to try to pull off this nationwide simulcast with you Occuthoners.
Thank you very much.
Very, very excited. We'll see if it works. Of course, what'll probably happen is I'll just hang up on you when we go to air. We got 1 minute, and then we're going to go to air. We're in a commercial break right now. How's the Occuthon going? Well, actually, don't tell me. Wait.
Sounds good. We'll keep it fresh.
We'll keep it fresh. But, yeah, so as long as I don't hang up on you. Okay. So the Occuthon, and you guys go to what, 7 p.m. tomorrow Eastern time?
Saturday night, yes. We're in the, we've got 22 and a half hours to go, as far as I know.
Oh, okay. The night is young for you.
Started.
All right, I'm going to, try to put you back on hold, and you'll hear our music as we go back into the show here momentarily.
Terrific. Excellent. Sounds great, Brad.
Thanks, guys.
We'll be standing by.
I think that's 21 and a half hours, but who's counting?
So let's enjoy a little bit of Mike Malloy Show on hold.
This message has been brought to you by the
This is fantastic.
Is it elevator music?
And the Ad Council.
Oh, it sounds good. Oh, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, standing by.
How many roads must a man walk down before he's called a man?
All right. Welcome back to your Mike Malloy Show. Brad Friedman, your friendly citizen, investigative blogger, journalist, troublemaker, and muckraker. Coast to coast and around the globe, of course, right here on the Mike Malloy Show. And if we did this right, technically, I believe that we are now also simulcasting on our friend Nicole Sandler's Radio or Not network, where they are holding a 24-hour Occuthon in support of Occupy Wall Street. And currently on duty holding down the fort at the Occuthon is, if we have it right, Jacob Dean, who hosts Filter Free Radio on the Radio or Not network. He also is the producer. Jake, are you the producer or the associate producer?
Associate producer.
Associate producer for the Tom Hartman program, heard on fine progressive radio stations across these United States, including even Green 960 up in San Francisco. Hey, Jacob, welcome to the Mike Malloy Show, sir.
Oh, it's an honor and a privilege to be on with you, Brad, and hello to all Mike listeners out there. I've been a big fan of Mike Malloy for a really long time. I'm familiar with the IE America radio days, the Air America radio days, but I won't get too far into that, Brad.
Old school days, yeah, that's right. And I think Tom and Mike were both on that old network back then.
Yes.
How's the Occuthon going, and how many more hours do you have left, and where can people find it, of course, once we finish here at the end of this hour when the Mike Malloy Show shuts down for the night?
Thank you so much again, Brad, for having us on. The website, all the information is at Occuthon.com, just like it sounds, Occuthon.com, Occuthon.com. It's going great, Brad. We've got calls from coast to coast. I just got off the phone with a couple from Kentucky, down at Occupy, Kentucky. We're doing a 24-hour broadcast here to support local Occupy camps around the country. We're directing people also to the website occupytogether.org. You can find local camps or even create your own camp and start that with friends. And it's going fantastic. We've got lots of calls. We've got lots of folks and amazing guests coming up. I'm speechless at how well this has all come together with everybody's hard work. It's fantastic.
Well, that's only because you're a few hours into it. It's going to start falling apart. It's going to be a disaster. Jerry Lewis is going to want to come on and sing a song.
You're right. This is only hour 5 of the 24-hour broadcast, so we've got 21 and a half to go.
And now I hear actually that I am scheduled to appear in the middle of the frickin' night because I so love you guys. I think 2 a.m. My time, Pacific time, and 5 a.m. on the East Coast. Is that when I'm...
Absolutely, Brad. You're going to be live on with our good friend and producer Shano, who put together the website Occuthon.
And that website where you can tune into the show is Occuthon.com, correct?
Yes, Occupy, Marathon, Occuthon. We just rolled with it.
And now people, progressive radio listeners, of course, will know Shano from the Stephanie Miller Show.
Yes.
Because Shano puts together all of the crazy audio montages, and we're actually broadcasting here, or broadcasting, as we like to say,
yes.
From Stephanie Miller's studio out at K-Talk AM 1150 out in Los Angeles. So see how incestuous this all is, Jake?
Love Steph, and we actually had Steph on Hartman's program today for a couple of minutes to plug the new #1 comedy album in the country.
Yes, Sexy Liberal, Stephanie Miller's Sexy Liberal is the #1 comedy album, and it was something like 50 or less in the top 50 over at iTunes. Okay, Jacob, I got to get to a break. You know how this thing works, but let me come by and say hello after I get to this break, and let folks know that we're going to go to your calls. I'm not even going to give out the number so we don't confuse people, but there's a lot of people on the line. I'll give you the number in a second. We're going to go to your calls. I'm going to thank Jacob Dean. Thank you, brother. I'm going to talk to you in a second, and we're going to send people to Occuthon.com.
Thank you, Brad. Talk to you soon, bud.
You've probably heard that learning a new language...
Hey, Brad. Jacob here.
Did we make it through the time tunnel?
We're perfect. We are still live on Occuthon at the moment. I'll take a break here in just a second, but I just wanted to thank you personally again, man. That was an honor to be on Malloy's program. Thank you.
Well, it was great to have you here. Sorry it had to be so short, which is by and large because I have been nattering on and on and on. You know, I don't get to go on the radio much, so when they let me go, I've got so
reeling back
much I have to say.
I love it.
All right. Well, listen, keep up the good work out there. I think it's way cool what you guys are doing. And I was going to say, let me know if I can help, but I already am going to have to at 2 a.m. my time.
Absolutely. And let me mention real quick to our listeners, bradblog.com, one of the best websites in investigative journalists. Brad, your work is always amazing.
You rock, brother. Stay awake, and I'll talk to the you guys in just a few hours.
We'll see you soon. The coffee's on.
Oh, good. I'm going to need it.
All right, bud. Okay, talk to you soon, Brad.
Bye-bye.
All right. Oh, my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, Brad Friedman, and we just were live on all Mike Malloy affiliates across the country. I'm going to take a deep breath. We're going to take a quick break. And we're going to come back with more Occuthon. Don't go anywhere. Occuthon.com is the website. We'll be right back.
This is Occuthon 2011. Voices united for the 99%. As the temperatures get colder, Occuthon 2011 is just heating up.
Occupy Wall Street all day, all week.
This is Occuthon 2011, 24 hours of internet radio to benefit local Occupy charities across the nation.
From New York to L.A., even up in Maine, people took to the streets to make sure their message is heard.
Thanks for supporting Occuthon 2011 and giving power back to the people.
Hi, this is Tom Hartman. Radio or Not presents the 24-hour nonstop broadcasting event of the year, Occuthon, supporting the Occupy Wall Street movement and the 99%. Join Radio or Not's evening primetime hosts Kenny Pick, Danielle the Leftneck Chick, Shane O, and Jacob Dean as they broadcast nonstop for 24 hours to support Occupy Wall Street. Occuthon 2011 starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, Friday, December 16th, and will be live until Saturday, December 17th. Occuthon.com for more information. Occuthon 2011 will be highlighting Occupy camps and charities all across the country and providing you with all the information so that you can show your support for the Occupy movement directly. Plus, numerous guests will be stopping by, and they'll be taking your calls live during the Occuthon. And don't forget the live and interactive Radio or Not Ustream chat room where you can always be part of the conversation. Occuthon 2011, 7 p.m. Eastern, Friday, December 16 until 7 p.m. Saturday, December 17. Visit Occuthon.com for more information. That's OCCUTHON.com. Occuthon.com. Occuthon 2011 from Radio or Not.
We're taking your calls live right now on Occuthon 2011. Call now toll free 1-866-745-2667. That's toll free. Call now 1-866-745-2667. We want to hear from you. Call Occuthon at 1-866-745-2667.
This is Occuthon 2011. Voices united for the 99%. 24 hours of internet radio to benefit local Occupy charities across the nation. Occuthon.com. And now, your host, Jacob Dean.
And welcome back to Occuthon. Thank you, Mr. Announcer Man. You sound awfully like Kenny Pick, one of the Radio or Not radio hosts.
Could it be?
Thanks so much for hanging out with us on Occuthon 2011, the website Occuthon.com. We are currently being syndicated by Occuthon.com, Free Speech TV, Blip TV, RadioOrNot.com, WKRP Radio, SoFloRadio.com, TalkRadio1.com, 97.9 FM, a voice of the resistance, and as well as a few other websites. So thanks so much.
Are we on terrestrial radio?
We were on terrestrial radio with Brad Friedman for about 5 minutes there.
Nice.
And we just reached everyone from Green 960, which if you're not familiar with what's going on with Green 960 in San Francisco right now, you need to get and get yourself up to date on that. We talked about it on Filter Free Radio, but I don't want to spend too much time on it at the moment because we have someone on hold that I want to get to and get an update from. Let's see, what was that? Yeah, so let's go to, sorry. We did put
Greg on the line, but
we did put that other cup or pot of coffee on, right, Scott?
Yeah, like you have time to get up and drink that.
Great. Speaking on the line with us right now is Greg Forward from Occupy Salem, Oregon. Salem is the capital of Oregon, for those of us who don't know, and just about an hour and a half south of Portland. Greg, can you hear me, bud?
I can hear you loud and clear. How are you?
Oh, doing great, Greg, and thanks so much for joining us on Occuthon.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
spoke really briefly, just as an introduction, a little bit ago off the air, and you were telling me a couple of ideas that you had that you were thinking about that I loved, and I would love for you to share them, Greg, because one of the things, I think one of my goals ultimately here is just simply to educate, inform, and help the movement sustain its kind of intellectual presence. But Greg, tell us about a couple of ideas that you have. I love them.
Well, just as even a general question to anybody that might be out there listening, I challenge you to really think about what's going on with the so-called illegal immigration, call it reforms, or just what's happening with illegal immigration. Is it really working? And my answer to that is no, it's not. That if you do your own research, you'll come and find out that annually we're spending anywhere between $100 billion a year to $500 billion a year on policing, prisons, welfare. So be it. There's a ton of expenses with that, and $5 billion alone from ICE for deportation. Just a basic idea that's been out there for a long time is just amnesty, and that would immediately relieve that stress on the welfare system. It would relieve the stress on the police system, on the prison system, which is funded by Wells Fargo, and you would be turning all those negatives into an unfathomable amount of tax revenue. And
yeah.
So that's just a basic idea. Even something like we have in Oregon. I've been in Oregon for 3 months. Excuse me.
Yeah, it's quite all right.
And they have self-serve gas stations. Don't exist in Oregon. They have fuel attendants for that.
I have to admit, it kind of blew my mind when I came to D.C. I saw people getting out of their cars and pumping their own gas. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, that's how it is in New Jersey. So anytime you drive to New York from D.C., you got to go through Jersey, and that's how it is on the turnpike there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's 120,000 gas stations according to the 2008 census. You just think if you were to create 1 million jobs just by making full-service gas stations mandatory, that's additional revenue, and you're also not hurting, I take that back, but you're forcing the gas and oil companies to contribute into the system. They're I don't want to call them dead-end jobs, but they're a means for a large percent of our population. We have just insane amount of homelessness, and
Well, and something that's remarkable that I like to mention to folks is going on here at Occupy DC in Washington D.C. The site of the camp is actually kind of known for having a large homeless population there, even way before Occupy Wall Street or D.C. had ever come about. And they're actually coming together and forming a really strong community and group with each other and working together. But and that's something that we're fighting all over the country, because it's just more symptoms of 30 years, 40 years of Reaganomics. Trickle-down theories, supply-side economics that don't work. I want to stress everyone go to Occuthon.com and click on the Occuthon memo and scroll down to the solutions and read through the solutions, because there's a lot of really good stuff in there about this.
There's a lot of good stuff there. Do it.
Greg, can you give us an update on Occupy Salem in Oregon? Again, this is the state capital. It's not that big of a city compared to Portland, which most people, when you say Oregon, they immediately start thinking or assuming it's Portland. But Salem is a smaller Occupy. It's a smaller group. It's a smaller city in general, and that's why I wanted to get you on to kind of highlight some of the smaller camps that might need and that's what I want to ask you about, Greg, is how's Occupy Salem, Oregon doing, and what if our listeners or anyone is inclined to check out the website and go there and donate, what are you guys in need of?
Honestly, our biggest need is volunteers. November 30th was our eviction date we were on the Wilson Park, which is on the grounds of the Capitol, and we were there for approximately 6 weeks or so.
Mm-hmm.
And we got a letter from the state parks and from the Capitol saying that we left the grounds in better shape than they were when we got there.
Terrific.
Wow.
And so, we're basically just meeting at coffee houses and having a weekly GA at the Ike Box, which is in downtown Salem, and doing a lot of internet-based networking and trying to just prep for the upcoming legislative season. There's a terrific bill that's being brought before Congress by the Working Family Party, and they're trying to establish the State Bank of Oregon, modeled after the State Bank of North Dakota, which was enacted in 1919, I want to say.
Yes, I'm not sure about the date, but yes, I'm enthusiastically supporting that idea.
And it's just one way to take all of your tax revenue for the state of Oregon and reinvest it into your community rather than sitting in Wall Street and collecting in their bank accounts.
Absolutely.
Exactly. That's because banks should be a utility, not a casino.
Exactly.
There you go. And model it after the State Bank of North Dakota. That's amazing. And what I love about this, Greg, is even though the Occupy Salem camp has been evicted, and I'm just curious, did that happen around the time Mayor Sam Adams gave the notice to Portland? I'm just curious.
I believe the eviction date in Portland, it was there the night before they were evicted. They were evicted that Sunday morning, and I want to say it was the 17th, but I could be wrong.
That's okay.
Don't quote me on that.
That's quite all right. No,
it was within around a week and a half of that same.
Right around the same time. That's what I thought. But I love how you're still staying active and participating, holding GAs. And even though the camp has been evicted, we took a call about I'd say half an hour ago from Kevin in Louisville, and he was saying, basically their camp is still up. They still have tents, but they've been giving an eviction notice to get out by the end of the year, and was kind of asking, what are we going to do? What's the next step? And that's kind of ultimately the big question for the Occupy movement is what's the next step? What do we need to be doing to move forward? And I think it's important that we sustain the movement and sustain our momentum. And it's going to be hard to do that going into the winter. But and so we and that's why we're asking folks, and that's why we're doing Occuthon, is to get people educated, get people informed, get people activated, and get people to participate. In that order, actually.
And this hour we're promoting what Occupy Fort Worth is our
Yeah, Occupy Fort Worth, Texas.
OccupyFortWorth.org.
And I want to mention that because again Salem is a small town. Occupy Fort Worth is in the reddest state. I don't know. I guess if Texas or Florida is the reddest state, I guess there's a few competition down there. But the fact that it's in Fort Worth, Texas, they need support with that alone. And so does Occupy Salem, and so does your local Occupy camp. Or if you don't have a local one, you can create your own. That's what it's all about, getting active. And everyone who participates in the movement is participating in history. You're participating in history. And that was one of the things that I wanted to mention is I'm not going to stand by on the sidelines as history is happening all around us and be a spectator. Because democracy, at its core, is not a spectator.
When you look back on those times, you're going to say, which side of history were you on?
Yeah.
Were you part of the movement, or were you just sort of ambivalent about it?
Part of the status quo.
Yeah,
exactly.
And Greg, I wanted to before we do have to get going, but I wanted to ask you about the one of the other ideas that you had about compiling this kind of information database, or maybe even the Occupy camps compiling this, and again along the message of educating the truth. Yeah.
Yeah, and just researching on a national level, getting together on a national level, and having every Occupy site research their local candidates' voting records, alliances, positions in civil sector before public service, campaign contributions versus their voting record on that industry. Just from a few minutes of research on opencongress.org, it's really, really easy to see a senator like Senator Charles Schumer in New York. He's a Democrat, and he's on the Senate Finance Committee and the Senate Committee for Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs, and he's taking $2 million from the securities and investments industry. That's not right.
Or Senator Ron Wyden from Oregon partnering with Paul Ryan on this disastrous Medicare voucher healthcare, which many Democrats and the president has rejected. But I digress. I'm sorry, Kevin. I'm sorry. My apologies. My apologies, Greg. But continue, please. And this is just simply educating ourselves and educating our electorate, because a democratic system, a democratic representative system, which is what we have in the United States of America, insists upon an educated electorate. Arguably, this is the cause of all the problems.
Yep. That is one of the many, many causes and the many, many problems. But the biggest thing, I guess, overall is to not vote based on what somebody says, but based on their record. And, it might be hard for a newcomer, but at least with the incumbents, you can dig and find out what they're about.
Right. And with that, Greg, I want to thank you so much for coming on Occuthon tonight and speaking with us. And even though, as Winston Churchill once said, never give up. Never give up. Even though the camp has been evicted, you can't evict an idea. And the idea and the participation continues in Salem, Oregon. Greg, keep up the good work, bud.
Thank you. OccupySalemOregon.com.
OccupySalemOregon.com
or .org or .net.
All of the above.
Thank you, sir.
Good night. You too, Greg. Okay. It's been a pleasure. Greg. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. Holy cow! It is. I'm looking at the clock.
Time's just flying by, buddy.
It's 11:45 on the East Coast. We're live Friday night. It's still Friday, right? We got 14 more minutes.
Almost.
And coming up at the top of the hour in just a couple of minutes, Tina Dupuy from Crooks and Liars, ladies and gentlemen. Holy cow.
That'd be great.
It's an all-star cast tonight on Occuthon. And again, don't go anywhere, because we're going to be taking your calls live. I see callers calling in. We're also going to be talking with a bunch of guests coming up. John Fugelsang, Brad Friedman is coming up a little bit later, who we just spoke with. Sam Cedar, Jason Leopold from Truth Out. Tina Dupuy's coming up next. Hal Sparks, David Packman, and oh my goodness, the list goes on and on and on and on. Nicole Bell. I'm so excited. This is awesome. I can't thank you guys enough for all of your participation.
Good times, man. High production value too, Jacob. Thank you very much.
Yeah. I want to mention really quick, just for anyone who's curious, we are, this portion of the broadcast, I'm broadcasting, coming to you live from Washington, D.C. I mentioned Occupy D.C. I want to again mention the Camp of the Hour, Occupy Fort Worth, occupyfortworth.org. Jill's down in Florida, Occupy Fort Lauderdale is that the nearest one to you, Jill?
No, I'm in Naples.
Naples, I'm sorry. There's Occupy Naples.
There is, but they don't have a camp set up.
Yeah, that's the home of the 1% right there.
It truly is, but we have done our bit where we go out and protest, but we don't have an overnight camp.
Well, I think as the movement in general moves into the winter hours, the winter season itself, it's probably going to come to something like that.
Yeah.
It's going to take kind of a shift in the tactics, a shift in the movement, a shift in order to maintain itself and to sustain itself. and it's going to take all of us participating and getting active to make that happen. It's that simple. It's that simple. I want to thank real quick again all of our syndicators, our helpers. I want to personally thank Kenny Pick of KennyPick.com and Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick. He hosts on RadioOrNot.com is our network, our site, the Nicole Sandler Network. Kenny Pick hosts Turn Up the Night on Tuesdays and Fridays. Danielle, the Left Neck Chick, theleftneckchick.com is her website. She hosts Left and Dixie on Wednesdays. Shane O, the Pocket Cub producer of the Stephanie Miller program, shane-o.com is his website. He hosts Funked in the Head Thursday nights on Radio or Not. And my name, if you are wondering, is Jacob Dean, and I host Filter Free Radio Monday nights on RadioOrNot.com.
And I'm Skeptical Scott. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. There's
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
I am here. And I just thought I'd interject to let you know that we have on the line.
I see this. I see that. Interesting.
And he is on with us now live, Mr. Ray Medeiros. Thanks for calling, bud.
Ray Medeiros of USA Progressive.
Can you hear us, Ray?
No. Glad you called, Ray.
Hello? Hello?
I think you're the wrong person.
Oh, that sounds like Adam.
We got you both on here, bud. we got Adam and Ray.
I'm sorry. Okay. Hello, Ray.
Okay. So Adam's on with us. Adam, hang on for a minute. Don't go anywhere. Ray, are you on the? Are you on air?
Am I on?
Ray, yeah. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, great, man. Sorry about that. Occuthon is a work in progress, as we can see.
That's all right. Dude, I cannot believe how many people are in the chat room, how many people are tweeting about this. It's unbelievable. I just wanted to let you, Bob, you guys did putting this all together.
Okay.
Go
ahead, Ray. Go ahead.
The other reason why I called in real quick was, you started bringing up the economy and pretty much economics, and that's my little shtick. You know what I'm saying? It's my little thing, and my inner geek came out, and I said, I have to come in and interject a little bit.
Well, let's tell everybody really quick your show, your website, and let's plug that real quick, Ray. And it's U.S. Is it U.S. Progressive or USA Progressive? I'm sorry, I think it's U.S.
The show is.
I'm sorry.
Show is USA Progressive.
Okay. As we can see, Jacob needs more coffee.
Hey man, I can't do everything.
No, it's okay. I'm just kidding.
He's just getting the water. Come on.
Yeah.
It's usa-progressive.blogspot.com. That's my website, and we go to blogtalkradio.com/USA Progressive. It's on Monday through Friday, 11 a.m., so you can catch me there.
That's terrific. So economy, you focus on the economy, Ray?
Oh, absolutely. That's my shtick. That's my thing. A lot of people have their little quirks, and that's my inner geek. And when you were talking about job creators, I think you mentioned something about trickle-down economics, something like that.
Reaganomics.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my favorite thing to talk about, because I had a guest on my show, and this is one of the first times I've ever talked to a multi-millionaire over the phone, or actually at any point in time in my life. He called in the show. His name was Nick Hanauer. He wrote an article at Bloomberg, and he said one thing that absolutely blew my mind. Business, when you're talking about a job creator, he says businesses want to do two things. Those two things are maximize revenue and increase sales. Right? Increase your profit margin. The second thing they try to do is contain costs. And by containing costs, they will try as hard as possible not to hire anybody. So when you're talking about trickle-down economics, and he's saying they're going to try as hard as possible not to hire anybody, what are they doing with those tax breaks?
Right.
They're not going to take that tax break, and they're not going to hire anybody. They're going to increase their profit margin, especially their after-tax profit margin, and who they're going to give it to. They're not going to give it to the workers. They're going to give it to their shareholders.
Right.
They're going to give it as increases in their dividend checks. And really, who does that help? That helps Wall Street. It never helps the little guy. And that's my thing. That's such a quick 30-second soundbite that he put out there that completely obliterates the Reaganomics mantra.
Right. I've believe me, I've got it in my archive, and Tom riffs on the 30 years of Reaganomics and trickled down and rough all the time, and it's like permanently pounded in my brain, and it's so important to point out because everyone. And that's another thing why I've kind of dedicated myself to doing this is not everybody has the time when they come home from work at the end of the day, living day to day, going through the daily grind, go to work, pick up the kids, take the kids to soccer, go to the store, cook dinner, yada, 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 yada. The last thing that they want to do is sit down and dig into some intellectual truth or some news or something that they, isn't fed to them, spoon-fed by the corporate media, which is full of lies and garbage.
Right.
And people don't have
which is why we have RadioOrNot.com and Filter Free Radio and everybody else.
And USA-progressive.blogspot.com. and it bothers me. It is what it is. The system is become the way it is, but it's so important for us to try to dig out the truth, to find the independent voices who are telling the truth, and speaking truth to power. And all of those fine examples that we just listed do that, which is great. and Ray, thanks for calling in, man. That's great.
Thanks, Jacob.
Thanks, Ray.
Thanks for having me on.
Excellent, bud. Thanks for being on here, man. You're going to be on later in the hour.
Yeah.
On the time frame, aren't you?
Ray is coming up. Ray, if I'm scanning my thing here. Uh-oh.
Ray should know.
What am I on a schedule?
Uh-oh.
Am I on a schedule that I didn't know I was on a schedule on?
Uh-oh. I'm sorry. You were on with Kenny Pick.
Yes, I was.
Oh, he's already on.
I saw your name on there somewhere.
That's quite all right.
You guys will get me nervous. I was like,
No.
I gotta go to bed.
You can't go to sleep, buddy. You gotta stay up all night.
You're coming. Ray's our next host on Occuthon. Don't go anywhere. He's taking the show.
Hey, Kenny Pick said he wants you on at 7 a.m., bud. So just get some sleep.
Oh, beautiful.
Well, give us a call back, as soon as I get off the air and Danielle, the left neck chick, takes over. I'm still going to be in Tom Hartman's studios here taking your calls. We're going to be taking your calls all night long, all 24 hours. I want everyone to participate, and we're going to get to as many people. Oh, my goodness, we have full phones. Wow.
Do this thing.
Awesome.
So that's amazing. But Ray, thanks for calling in, bud. We're gonna run to a quick break here. And we will be back with Tina Dupuy of crooksandliars.com. Don't go anywhere. It's Occuthon, Occuthon.com.
Hi, friends. This is Tom Hartman. Thank you for supporting Occuthon 2011 and giving power back to the people. This is Occuthon 2011, a 24-hour internet broadcast to benefit local Occupy charities across the nation.
Occupy Wall Street!
Thank you for supporting Occuthon 2011. This is what democracy looks like.
Began with a small protest on Wall Street in Lower Manhattan here in New York, has grown to demonstrations nationwide.
Occupy Wall Street protesters identified themselves as the 99% that will no longer tolerate the greed and corruption of the 1%.
From New York to L.A., even up in Maine, people took to the streets to make sure their message is heard.
Don't forget the live and interactive Radio or Not Ustream chat room where you can always be part of the conversation. And they'll be taking your calls live during the Occuthon. Occuthon.com for more information. Occuthon.com. Occuthon 2011 from Radio or Not. You're listening to and watching Occuthon 2011 live.
Welcome to the U.S. occupation, to win the hearts and minds, defend all humankind, tell the banks and the corporations, we're here to occupy the USA. Congress and the hedge funds stole our houses and our pensions, conspired to steal our health care at conservative conventions. We're here to stand our ground, we demand our jobs with justice. We're 9 99% in charge. Now you'll just have to trust us. Stop the XL pipeline in its tracks across the heartland. Reject the filthy energy extracted from the tar sands. Clinton and TransCanada exposed before the nation. Corruption forces us to organize a new invasion. Welcome to the U.S. occupation. To win the hearts and minds, defend all humankind. Tell the banks and the corporations we're here to occupy the USA. This occupation won't be won with guns or ammunition. Armed with creativity and righteous indignation, we do all the work, so we have the power to stop it. No workers, no work, not until we share the profits. Our unions and our right to organize. Students, homeless, immigrants are strengthening their ties. We have struggled far too long, now let this be a sign. 1% in power meet the other 99. Welcome to the U.S. occupation. To win the hearts and minds, defend all humankind. Tell the banks and the corporations we're here to occupy the USA. Welcome to the U.S. occupation. To win the hearts and minds, defend all humankind. Tell the banks and the corporations we're here to occupy the USA. Democratize the USA. We're here to occupy the USA.
This is Occuthon 2011. Voices united for the 99%. 24 hours of internet radio to benefit local Occupy charities across the nation. Occuthon.com. And now, your host, Jacob Dean.
And welcome back to Occuthon 2011. I'm Jacob Dean, broadcasting live on Occuthon.com. We're syndicated on Free Speech TV, Blip TV, RadioOrNot.com, WKRP Radio. Turkeys are flying, yes, ladies and gentlemen. Also, SoFlowRadio.com, TalkRadio1.com, 97.9 FM, Voice of the Resistance, as well as all of the Radio or Not evening host websites. It is my pleasure and honor and privilege to welcome to the program right now Tina Dupuy. She's a national syndicated op-ed columnist, a freelance investigative journalist, comedian. She's hilarious. On-air commentator. She's the managing editor of Crooks and Liars website that I check every single morning as I'm producing the Tom Hartman program. She's also a fill-in host at the Young Turks and now has her own spin-off, TYT Now. This is awesome. Tina, it's a pleasure, and thank you so much for joining me.
Hey, Jacob, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. And I also want to mention the website, TinaDupuy.com, TinaDupuy.com. Tina, I know it was so much fun having you on with Carl Frisch probably about a month ago on Tom's program, and I wasn't able to participate in the conversation, but it was fun just being behind the scenes. You guys were tearing it up. It was great.
Yeah, isn't Carl great? He would be my ex-boyfriend if he wasn't queer.
Right. Tina, I want to ask you, or get your thoughts and talk to you a little bit about, what's going on with the Crooks and Liars, the Occupy, the food, the pizza, which is still going on, as this whole Occuthon 2011 is about supporting the Occupy Wall Street and 99% movement. And also, you've been around to so many different Occupy camps. I'd love to talk to you for a couple of minutes about that.
Yeah, we where I'm actually having dinner with John Amato as we speak. And
Amazing.
we are talking about the next incarnation. We're probably not going to be doing pizzas because a lot of the camps are no longer there, which is, fine. That was the first part of the movement. And what we can do, is to, or what the Occupy movement needs now going forward, which apparently is not exactly pizzas, or it's not easy enough to deliver them what they're needing on the next phase, which seems to be, on college campuses and apparently bail money. So we're discussing what we're doing next.
All of the above, and that's definitely where the conversation is heading, is what's next for the movement, what's next, how effective can we be in our tactics, and what do we want to do, and how do we want to maintain the momentum of the movement going into the tough winter months, and all of that. Tina, how many Occupy camps or have you lost track? Have you been to?
I've been to 8 encampments in 2 different countries.
In 2 different countries.
Yeah.
I would love to ask. Please share with us what you think, or what you've taken away that people need to know. And is there something that's going on at particular camps that isn't at other camps that would help to make the movement in general, reach its more potential, full potential?
Well, every camp kind of is a microcosm of the city that hosts it. So, the issues that you have in Oakland that are different from the other occupations are because Oakland is a different city than the other occupied cities. Right. The one that I find the most interesting, I think, was Washington, D.C., because you have all these really smart people who move from all over the country to live and work in Washington, D.C., and they're kind of in this, and they live in this donut hole of poverty,
yep.
or they live, around surrounded by these like really horrid conditions that we kind of like always known about, but the Occupy movement is kind of bringing that up to in the conversation. They definitely have a through line, which is economic justice and how corporations have taken over our democracy and hijacked our democracy. They have that through line, but they definitely have their own unique local issues that they're able to kind of discuss and find ways to remedy. So it's really fascinating to go to the different ones and see how each of these, what they have in common, but also like the local issues that they're able to tackle, because they do have, to use your word, momentum. Right. They do have a platform now because because with the arrests and the other things that happen, the local news that have been covering what's going on with Dancing with the Stars instead of anything of substance actually has to interview these people who are sleeping out in tents and show their signs on the local news, and so we're actually they are able to facilitate a conversation about economic justice and about how there are so few people with so much, and then there's the rest of us.
The 99%, the rest of us.
Right, it's only the 99.9%. There was a Berkeley economist who did the math and figured out that the 6 Walmart heirs, 6 people are worth the bottom 30% of the nation.
Yep.
Had the same amount of wealth as the bottom 30% of this country, 6 human beings. And we're talking about Walmart, where, the majority of the people who work at Walmart are still on food stamps, which means that the government is subsidizing those low prices. We are actually paying people to be a workforce at Walmart, where their heirs can be worth, 6 of their heirs can be worth the bottom 30% of the nation.
Well, that's
egregious. That's absolutely gobsmackingly horrible. And if it wasn't for the Occupy movement, you and I would not be able to talk about that right now, because we wouldn't have the peg. We would just be whiny liberals talking about how the poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer, and everyone would go, yeah, whatever. But because over 5,000 Americans now have been arrested, we have an excuse to talk about the reasons why they've been arrested.
Absolutely. And as the movement evolves, the strategy is going to evolve, the tactics are going to evolve, and the solutions or the participation and the giving is going to evolve. And so, again, kind of bringing that full circle, it comes back to, what's really happening next and where is it going? And that's a question that none of us really know the answer to, as this movement is springing up organically, unlike its AstroTurf, I don't know, I'm lacking a word for it, but
you want
the
to
Tea
say
Party.
counterpart, but that wouldn't be right.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to give it that much credit.
Well, yeah, the Tea Party was birthed on was birthed on cable news and CNBC, the Rick Santelli rant. And since it was the baby of cable news kind of showed it off. And it's just a conservative voting bloc. They're not Democrats in the Tea Party. They're just are not. There are not liberals in the Tea Party, but there are libertarians and anarchists and, I've been telling, for every communist, there's a Ron Paul supporter, so they cancel each other out.
And that's great.
But yeah, no, it does. And what the occupiers have been saying is that they are analytically correct. Right. That unlike the Tea Party, where they kind of like had this suspended reality of, the government getting out of Medicare, when the occupiers talk about why they are taking to the streets, it actually makes a lot of sense. And what I think is going to be the biggest and most, let's say, dry kindle for this new movement is Congress. Because Congress is going to continue to do horrible things, be completely tone deaf, and not be able to accomplish anything for anyone but corporations for the next year that they have their tenure. A great example of this is, we found out this week that the census information that half of Americans, 1 in 2 Americans, are either poor or low income. That's half of America. And so in the wake of all this kind of empirical evidence that Americans are suffering in historic ways and historic proportions, we have a Congress who passed a non-binding resolution that our motto is "In God We Trust." And why did they do that? Because Obama had the audacity to say something in Latin. And it's like, really, you're spending our tax dollars doing what? A non-binding resolution? Come on, man.
Tina, I know you're so busy, and I don't want to keep you any longer. I want to mention the website again. That's TinaDupuy.com, TinaDupuy.com. She's the managing editor for Crooks and Liars. Please give my best to John, and thank you so much for coming on, Tina.
Thank you so much. I love that you guys are doing this. Have a great night, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
And keep up the great work at Crooks and Liars. I read it every single morning before I produce Thom Hartmann, so I promise you.
You flatter us. Thank you so much.
Have a good night, Tina, and thanks again for coming on.
Okay, bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tina Dupuy of Crooks and Liars. Oh, how about them apples? We are deep into our final hour for the first portion of my time with you here on Occuthon 2011. I'll be back. We're going to take a 9-hour break, actually. I will, but Occuthon is going to continue broadcasting live nonstop for 24 hours. Danielle, the Left Neck Chick, host of Left in Dixie on RadioOrNot.com, is coming up in just about 45 minutes or so. And she's going to take the helm, and she's got a lot of fantastic stuff lined up for you. Lots of guests, and Matt Emmer is going to be joining her from Message Matters is Matt's website, and
Talking Points Memmer.
Talking Points Memmer, as Kenny Pick likes to add, and that was something else. And I want to mention also for anyone just joining us. My name is Jacob Dean, and with me is my co-host of Filter Free Radio. We do it, filterfreeradio.com is the website, on Monday nights on RadioOrNot.com. And
from 7 to 9 p.m.
7 to 9 p.m., thank you, Scott. And the official Twitter goddess of Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick, Jill E. Bond. You can follow her. Follow her at Jill E. Bond on Twitter. Jill's with us, and
I am.
Here, well, I can't believe that that two.
We got a jam-packed show here tonight, bud.
2.5 hours is flying by.
And just to tease, if I may, we've got coming up tonight. We've got Brian Stetten, and we've still got Robert Bruin from Occupy DC.
Yeah.
And Brian Stetten's from PD America, pdamerica.org, and he's the chapter down there in Florida.
Yeah. And Brian, if you're listening, give us a call, and we'll get to.
I told him we call him back.
Okay, that's fine. We can pick him up here at the bottom of the hour. That's fine. In about 10 minutes from now. I want to real quick. Let's go to your calls. Let's take your calls. Let me remind us of the web or the phone number really quick, in case you're wondering. Let's fire off this promo here real quick. We're taking your calls live right now on Occuthon 2011. Call now toll free 1-866-745-2667. That's toll free. Call now 1-866-745-2667. We want to hear from you. Call Occuthon at 1-866-745-2667. Call now. Operators are standing by. His name's Skeptical Scott. On the line with us is a fantastic friend of Filter Free Radio, a friend of ours at Radio or Not, a frequent contributor to Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick. And Adam, if I may mention really quick, a former Walmart employee, Tina Dupuy was talking about Walmart for a minute. I don't know if you want to comment on that, but Adam, I want to welcome you to Occuthon 2011, and you're live on the air, bud.
Well, first of all, I want to apologize for earlier. I was thoroughly confused. So I hope I didn't cause too much trouble.
No, don't even worry about that. This
was my fault again.
This is all the work in progress. As you can tell, we're broadcasting live. This is happening live as we speak.
Right.
And it's 12:15 on the East Coast, 9:15 on the West Coast, and that's so cool. It's Saturday in Washington, D.C., and it's still Friday in L.A., in Portland. That's cool.
Friday, yes.
We're broadcasting across time zones, ladies and gentlemen. But Adam, what's on your mind, bud?
Well, I listened to Tina Dupuy while I was waiting. I'm going to be honest. This never happened directly to me, but I have heard stories about Walmart management giving new hires instructions on how to apply for food stamps. And again, I have not experienced this personally, because generally, you can make it on your own. Single. You can make it on your own working at Walmart. Yeah, it's not super easy, but I never had real serious income problems until I was fired.
Sure.
But and this is why I told you that first time you had me. If you ever want to do an expose on Walmart, you just tell me. I've got stories. My sister still works for Walmart. She's probably got some more stories. They're a major part of this issue with the 99%, I think.
Absolutely.
And it's only getting worse. Sam Walton may have been a nice guy who generally cared about his workers, but his kids are just... They're horrible in every conceivable way.
And I'm not old enough to know it, but speaking from a historical perspective, it's my understanding that Sam Walton originally, with the idea of Walmart, happily and proudly displayed banners that said made in the USA. All of the products were originally made in the USA. Of course, outsourcing and the quote-unquote so-called free trade market has destroyed all American manufacturing. We don't make anything in America anymore. China is eating our lunch, literally. And by the way... go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Ed.
Part of it is a matter of national security. Think about it. We don't make steel anymore. That's all been outsourced. What happens if, God forbid, we do get another war?
Right.
Another World War II style thing where, World War II, part of the reason why we won, it was hard, don't get me wrong, but part of the reason why we were successful is because we turned our manufacturing plants into... instead of making cars, we made bombs. Instead of making cars, we made planes. We will not have that sort of success again if something like that happened. And I try to be optimistic, but I'm going to be honest. I'll bet you dollars over donuts it will, because humanity is a flawed, we're flawed people, flawed species. And we like killing each other sometimes for some stupid. Read it.
Yeah, they'll do that. It's kind of a barbaric, if you will. Adam, can you do me a big favor and first accept my apologies because I have Brian Stetten on the line that I want to get to him really quick. I'm going to put you.
Ask a favor.
Yeah, go ahead.
On hold.
Go. Yeah, that's fine.
I asked Julius and I've tweeted him, but if Hal gets on during your bit, please tell him I said thank you for all he's done for me because he's been wonderful towards me from the very, ever since I started, being a regular caller to a show. If you would please tell him thank you for being willing to participate in Occuthon.
Hal Sparks, I'm writing my note right now. Hal Sparks, tell him Adam says thank you.
And if he needs
it's on the list, brother.
Arigato.
It's on.
He'll know.
It's on the list, brother.
In ink, baby.
And give us a call back in a little bit, Adam, or in my next broadcast.
Well, I may take a nap until my
shift, we're all at some point. We do need to think about sleep. That would be a good thing.
Well, I just got through finals. You know what that's like, Jacob.
Yes, more coffee.
That's not far near
more coffee.
I'll talk to you all later.
All right, Adam. Thanks.
Good luck. Bye.
Thank you, bud. Thanks for the call, Adam. I want to get on the line with us, and my sincerest apologies. We've been schedule work in progress all over the place. And again, I want to give a tip of the hat to Danielle and Shano and Kenny Pick. All of us are working behind the scenes nonstop. And the work that we're all putting into this is beyond belief. You wouldn't believe it.
Wow! If I could just get paid per hour, I could probably make rent this month.
We're not. This is 100% voluntary. We're nonprofit. This is a 100% nonprofit organization, nonprofit broadcast. We're not taking any money. Don't send me anything.
Nonprofit because we're not getting paid for it, and we're just doing it, right?
Right. We're just doing it because it's a good thing to do. So let's welcome to the show Brian Stetten. He's from the Florida chapter of PD America, Progressive Democrats of America, the website pdamerica.org. And Brian, it's a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
Pleasure to be on. Definitely a pleasure to be on. Hello from Florida.
And I want to mention everyone. I'm friends with Brian on Facebook, and Brian is probably one of the most active and informative and person on Facebook that I follow. And Brian, I want to thank you personally for how active you are and how serious we take this and how much work you put into it. And it's just brilliant work what you're doing.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, it's a bit of a passion because I fear for not just what's happening to our country, but I think in many ways the survival of the human race is dependent upon certain changes being made now and how we govern ourselves and so forth.
And also, Brian, with me on the line right now is my co-host of I host a show on Radio or Not, Filter Free Radio on Monday nights. His name's Scott, and also on the line with us is Jilly Bond, a frequent contributor to Radio or Not, and Jill is in Florida as well.
Yeah, I've been named.
Well, what part of Florida?
Oh.
I'm in Naples, Florida.
Been there.
Naples.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I got you, Jill.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. On the West Coast.
Might need to bump Skype up just a touch, Scott. Yeah. And Brian, can you tell us a little bit about what you do for Progressive Democrats of America and what's going on with PDA down in Florida?
Yeah, I mean, PDA has been active. I mean, there's several different groups locally. I am president of the Broward County chapter. There's the Miami-Dade chapter, which is run by peace activist Nicholas Sandy Davies, who wrote an excellent book I recommend, by the way, Blood on Our Hands. It's about the Iraq War. And the Palm Beach County chapter, which is run by Sam Levine. They're all very good people. And we try to educate the public on a number of issues and have frequent guests for that.
Yeah.
As well as try to push petition drives and participation in protests. Speaking of which, there's going to be a fairly sizable one, we hope, run by Occupy Fort Lauderdale tomorrow at 11. So anybody that's within the area, 11 in the morning, feel free to meet at well, not officially the encampment because they were forced to take their tents down, but they still occupy the plaza next to City Hall on 100 North. 100 North. I'm having a block on the name of the road, but a block north of Broward Boulevard.
That's quite all right. Let's. I want
Power line. That's it. Power line.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I want to mention, especially for our listeners on SoFloRadio.com, heads up tomorrow morning, 11 a.m., grassroots activism at its finest. And participation and just simply bringing awareness and bringing participation and activation to the progressives in the country is what PDA is all about, Progressive Democrats of America. I was fortunate enough, it's probably been a couple of months now, but I was fortunate enough to attend a PDA event here in Washington, D.C. a while back, and got to meet Tim Carpenter, which was fantastic. Love Tim. He's a great guy doing great work. And the event that you put on, or Progressive Democrats of America put on, featured had John Nichols and Laura Flanders and Tom Hartman and all these big speakers, and it was in a book at Busboys and Poets in DC, a little local bookshop, and that moment, it was so cool to be participating in that, and I came away with that with such emotion and thought-provoking enthusiasm. I'm like, I can't wait, and I can't wait to get out there and get active, and I can't wait to tell all my friends and get more people involved in the movement, generally speaking.
This is before Occupy even started.
And I want to mention that I actually was able to get one of the signs from the event, a Progressive Democrats of America's sign that says, Heal America, tax Wall Street. And Brian, I use that sign as my background on my show every week.
Well, that's a wonderful thing. Heal America, and tax Wall Street is one of them. Healthcare, not warfare, is another good sign they printed out. They have some excellent material. It's a great organization nationwide. Correction on the address, by the way, that's by City Hall, 100 North Andrews Avenue in Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
I'll also be holding a teach-in tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock there.
Oh, amazing. Brian, bless you.
Yeah.
You're doing fantastic work, bud.
Yeah, it'll be further talks on class warfare and what to do with the elite. Ideally, I say get rid of them.
Is the website for the Occupy Fort Lauderdale? It's occupyfortlauderdale.org, right?
Correct. Occupyfortlauderdale.org.
And people can probably find more information there. And also, please let me strongly recommend that you find Brian Stetten. Brian spelled B-R-I-A-N and Stetten, S-T. Am I pronouncing your name right, Brian?
Close enough. Stetten, S-T-E-T-T-E-N.
My apologies, Brian.
Yes, like Sam, Tom, Evan, Tom, Evan, Nancy, if one that breaks it up phonetically.
Yes.
It's a small German city, actually.
Oh, interesting. Learn something new every day. Education.
Yeah, I have some German Jewish blood on my father's side and Indonesian and Dutch on my mother's side. So I'm a bit of a mix.
Find Brian on Facebook and follow him. Brian, you're doing phenomenal work, and thank you so much. Everyone who participates right now in these movements and doing each of us doing our part, we're creating history. We're participating in history, and I think it's important that we all continue to do so.
We have no choice. I mean, the deterioration in our country is just phenomenal. The figures released from the Census Bureau yesterday were just alarming. I mean, nearly half the country is in poverty.
Right.
About 146 million people. So it's just, we're not getting in better shape. We're getting worse. We're turning into a third world nation. So it's...
Amen, brother.
And it's going to take all of us participating to turn that around. Only the 99% working together can turn that around and turn the country around in the direction it needs to be going. Brian, is there a Florida website for the chapter down there in Broward County for president?
No, but we're listed on the main website.
Right.
And you go to pdaamerica.org and go through the list of chapters. It'll pull ours up.
Awesome. And again, I want to thank you, Brian, so much for coming on and putting up with us as we're continually working on this and trying to make everything come together. So, Brian, again, Brian Stetten of the Florida Progressive Democrats of America. Get thee to the pdaamerica.org, the website, and participate. Brian, thank you.
Can also be reached by email, brianstetten@gmail.com.
brianstetten@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Brian, again, thank you so much for coming on, bud. It's been a pleasure.
You take care.
Okay, have a good night. Keep up the good work.
Thanks, Brian.
Holy moly. And it continues.
Great job, Jacob.
Occuthon continues. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Jill. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah.
We'll come back. We've got half an hour more. I'm going to open it up to the phone lines. I'm going to open it up for Jill and Scott, who haven't gotten a word in edgewise, and we're gonna continue the conversation and continue Occuthon 2011 right here on Occuthon. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Radio or Not presents Occuthon, supporting the Occupy Wall Street movement and the 99%. Occuthon 2011 starts 7 p.m. Eastern, Friday, December 16th. Numerous guests will be stopping by to chat, and we'll be taking your calls live. And don't forget the live and interactive Radio or Not Ustream chat room, where you can always be part of the conversation. Visit Occuthon.com for more information. That's OCCUTHON.com. Occuthon.com.
Come experience the next generation of progressive voices every weekday night on Nicole Sandler's primetime lineup at RadioOrNot.com. Liberate yourself with filter-free radio, hosted by Jacob Dean every Monday night.
It's just the system is broken. Bring it down. Bring it all down, right?
On Wednesdays, rediscover the progressive South on Left in Dixie with the Left Neck Chick.
Because, you know what? I think change is coming to this country. Don't you guys?
Get your progressive groove on Thursday nights with Funked in the Head, hosted by Shano.
It's not that people are asking for something that is unreasonable. It's that we're hopeful that we can have an even shot too.
Then let it all hang out both Tuesday and Friday nights on Turn Up the Night with Kenny Pick.
You love the Constitution so much, but you hate the government, but you love the corporations. Where does that come from?
Tune in every weekday night to the primetime Radio or Not lineup at the Ustream home of Nicole Sandler, RadioOrNot.com.
Hi, friends. This is Tom Hartman. Thank you for supporting Occuthon 2011 and giving power back to the people. This is Occuthon 2011, a 24-hour internet broadcast to benefit local Occupy charities across the nation.
Occupy Wall Street!
Thank you for supporting Occuthon 2011. This is what democracy looks like.
Began with a small protest on Wall Street in Lower Manhattan here in New York, has grown to demonstrations nationwide.
Occupy Wall Street protesters identified themselves as the 99% that will no longer tolerate the greed and corruption of the 1%.
From New York to L.A., even up in Maine, people took to the streets to make sure their message is heard.
Don't forget the live and interactive Radio or Not Ustream chat room, where you can always be part of the conversation. And they'll be taking your calls live during the Occuthon. Occuthon.com for more information. Occuthon.com. Occuthon 2011 from Radio or Not. You're listening to and watching Occuthon 2011 live.
We're taking your calls live right now on Occuthon 2011. Call now toll free 1-866-745-2667. That's toll free. Call now 1-866-745-2667. We want to hear from you. Call Occuthon at 1-866-745-2667.
This is Occuthon 2011. Voices united for the 99%. 24 hours of internet radio to benefit local Occupy charities across the nation. Occuthon.com. And now, your host, Jacob Dean.
And welcome back to Occuthon 2011. My last half an hour with you on our first stint of Occuthon 2011. Don't go anywhere. The broadcast continues for 24 hours nonstop. I'm simply going to take a quick break, have a glass of water, have a bite to eat.
Not going to go to sleep, though.
Maybe take a nap. And we're going to keep answering your phone calls here, so keep calling all night long. And coming up next is the Left Neck Chick, Danielle of Left in Dixie, on Wednesday night nights, radioornot.com. And she's got lots of stuff lined up. And Shano also following. And Kenny Pick and more Jacob Dean. And, Lions and Tigers and Bears, oh my. I don't know. I want to thank... I want to thank my super awesome co-hosts for this portion. Jill E. Bond. You can follow her on Twitter at Jill, 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 E, the letter E, Bond, as in James Bond, B-O-N-D. Jill E. Bond. And Jill, thanks so much for hanging in there with us.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here.
It's been a roller coaster and a half.
Mm-hmm. It's just going to get better and better and better, too.
Yes. As the promo that Kenny Pick wrote, as it cools down outside, Occuthon is just heating up. And as you can see, I've had a cup of coffee in the last little bit. So we're gonna take your calls and kind of chat it up here for the last portion. I want to be able to let the people speak on the people's mic of Occuthon, and I also want to mention our Occupy Camp of the Hour, which is Occupy Tri-Cities in Washington State. Occupy Tri-Cities, that is around, let's see, what's the website? It's occupytricities.blogspot.com is one website that will get you there, and you can find also more information at occupytogether.org, and Occuthon.com is our website where all of our information is. Okay. I haven't said that once tonight. Okay. I haven't said that once.
I just had to get you, bud.
But that's a kind of an ongoing thing between Scott and I on the show that we do on Filter Free Radio. Whenever I get into a really in-depth rant, and I feel like I make a really good point, and then I have nothing else to say, I just say, okay. So. Okay. Just like I'm blanking on his name now.
Teacher Mackey.
Mackey, thank you. Yeah. From South Park.
So we're gonna take some calls. We got a caller here on the line.
We
got Eric from Occupy Louisville. On the line.
Yeah, we've had several calls from Occupy Louisville, and this is fantastic.
Eric.
We'll take your calls now. Call the numbers on the screen. Toll free 1-866-745-2667, and we're talking with Eric, who is live on Occuthon. Eric, thanks for calling, bud.
I was just listening to Brad on Mike Malloy's show earlier.
Oh, terrific!
They were talking about how there's no progressive talk shows on some of those cities, like they're threatening to shut down the San Francisco.
Yes, Green 960. Yes,
that's right. And in Louisville, there's absolutely no progressive talk shows on, and so I was just calling to ask how we could possibly try to get some progressive talk shows on. I listen to Stephanie Miller every morning.
Yep.
On the internet, and then Tom Hartman after that. I'd like to be able to drive around in my car and put on the AM radio and listen to it.
Absolutely, Eric. That's a brilliant question, and there's a couple things. First of all, what we can do is call your local stations and tell them, find someone who you can bend their ear for 5 minutes and tell them how you feel. And it's obvious and it's apparent that, and we need to accept the fact that the corporate media is the corporate media, the corporate-owned media. And we are in desperate need of independent, progressive, truth-telling voices. And more, it's seeming that the one real outlet is the internet. As everything is migrating towards the internet, that as well. And you mentioned Green 960, which is a tragedy. We love Green 960. We love our folks in San Francisco. And let me mention really quick what's going on with Green 960. Green 960 is operated by Clear Channel, the largest corporate We were just talking about corporations, weren't we? Corporate media. Clear Channel is the largest corporate conglomerate of radio stations in America. Get this. And this was reported by Brad Friedman at bradblog.com, which is where I first read it. Mitt Romney purchased, his
Bain Capital.
Bain Capital, thank you, Scott. Bain Capital now owns Clear Channel, and the reasoning behind flipping Green 960 at this moment is because they said, quote, or words to the effect, I can't quote it, I don't remember it verbatim, but words to the effect of, it's very crucial timing right now in this in this political season running for the president, and it's important that we have more right-wing talk shows on the air.
What? Is that really the quote?
No, that's not the quote. It's words to that effect.
Yeah, I got you.
But my point is, but that's literally what they said, and there was such a big blowback, and this is what I want to tell you, Eric, and tell everyone else. There was such a big blowback against that. Everyone was calling the station, calling the people around, calling the local powers to be, calling making their voices heard. And now there's talks about them not necessarily flipping it or changing Green 960. So that's still in the air. It's still in limbo. And I would encourage everyone to, find Green 960, give them a call, tell them how you feel. And it's an ongoing battle, brother. It's just the ultimate solution. I like to talk about big picture solutions on my show. I like to think of the big picture and, solutions. And to me, the solution is simple. It's how Occupy Wall Street and the 99% movement have come to be. And that is grassroots activism, bottom up. Doing what we can, every single one of us, making a contribution, whether it's calling Green 960, whether it's going to our local Occupy camp, whether it's, whatever we're doing, all of our small acts together makes one big act, and it's going to take one big act to transform the current, system, which is not going to make a change voluntarily on its own. Would you agree, Eric?
Well, sure, definitely.
And so, other than calling, the local stations and making your voice heard and participating, start your own internet talk show. Why not? That's exactly what I did. And
so hey, Eric, what's the next phase for Occupy Louisville then?
I don't know. In Louisville, it's fortunately our mayor is very progressive, and so they've got a little encampment down there that with about 24 to 30 tents, and and it's been peaceful, and they've had to move around in the city, but our mayor Greg Fisher, he's a good progressive, and he's let them set up camp, and everything's been really good and peaceful.
So they haven't been evicted yet?
Oh no. No, I don't see in the foreseeable future that they will be. I mean,
Well, that's really good news.
Down to 15 below zero, then who knows what will happen? But I don't think the mayor's. He's a good mayor, Greg Fisher. He's a really good guy.
Well, that's good. That's good that you actually have a progressive there, and
we have John Yarmouth too. John Yarmouth is our representative, and he's a very progressive individual too.
And Eric, just by this conversation I'm having with you, it's apparent to me that you're well educated, or at least you're informing yourself. You know your representative name, or your representative's name. You know what's going on locally around you. You're able to input more effectively within your local community, and you're doing the right thing by actively seeking out independent voices and informing and telling and sharing. I like to plug my 555 plan. Tell 5 friends, they'll tell 5 friends, they'll tell 5 friends. It works, and that's how we're going to make any significant change.
Learn it, know it, live it.
And Eric, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, and great to hear from you, bud. Thanks for checking out Occuthon. And
thank you.
And thanks for listening to Mike Malloy and Brad Friedman. It's a personal Love of mine. I love Mike.
Well, I listen to Tom Hartman too. And I know who you are, so.
Oh, well, if you ever hear Tom yelling at some producer in the background, hey, Jacob, or some clipper, I am that guy running around literally in the room right in front of me, usually with my hair torn out. In a good way. It's a labor of love, and I'm honored and privileged to be a part of this, and simply to be doing good and morally good, and we can sell our soul to the system and make lots of money and do whatever and be corrupt and participate in the corruption, but I prefer to be able to sleep at night. So Eric, thanks for the call, bud. Keep up the good work out there in Louisville.
Thanks for calling, Eric.
All right, thank you.
All right,
Take
bud.
care, bud.
We've got about 20 minutes here until the end of our first round on Occuthon.
Yeah.
I have to say we're doing. It feels like it's doing pretty well.
I think we're going to take a little short break here and get another Occupy DC brother on the line, right?
Well, yeah, you Scott, you can get him on the line right now. In the meantime, I would love to give a shout out really quick. Something that we do occasionally on Radio or Not is give a shout out to our fantastic chat room, which you can participate in at Occuthon.com is where you can check out the chat room. And I'll just really quick read down the names of everyone in the chat room. Hello to Mr. Kenny Pick is in the chat room. Matt 234. Adam, who's just on a little bit ago. AWOP Radio, AWOP Radio. Brian Stetten from Florida Progressive Democrats of America is in there. Broke Hammer, Buckeye Ken, CY Guy, Deba, yes, the left neck chick. Who is this? I don't know if I want to read that name on the air. That's okay. A little profanity there, but that's okay. We'll skip that. Grateful Wow, Gypsy Cat, Jan Hammer, JD Fishin. Hey, JD. Thanks for watching. Jelly Bond, Johnny 00, Cat, Cat 0211. Cat's always in the chat. And Cat is our fantastic fact checker. She always keeps us in line. We love you, Cat. Lindbergh. Mr. Told You So. Mr. Told You So. I like that. Neon Death. All right. And Pap Lammer, Seth P., Shirley Rocks, The Maestro, Trojan Rabbit, You Semi 5, Victor.
You see me.
You see me. You see me. Now you don't. I don't know.
Use me. Oh, anyway.
Use me.
There we go. Use me.
Victor and Will from Chicago are in the chat.
Hey, guys.
We have 77 guests also. So if you are if you are watching and you'd like to participate in the chat room, just simply type into the chat room, begin typing, hit send, and then it will prompt you on how to log in, so you can log into the chat room.
No emails required. You just create your own user ID and password, and bam, you're in. No
and
email.
Participate. And you can participate in the conversation. I want to get to our last guest of this first stint here on Occuthon 2011. It's kind of a friend of mine. I want to bring him on and have a nice conversation with him. His name's Robert from Occupy DC, and Robert actually and I met on day one, October 1st at Occupy DC at McPherson Square, and became kind of acquaintances. And I've been waiting to have him on my program on Filter Free Radio, and it's a pleasure that he gets to join us on Occuthon. And Robert frequently calls into the Tom Hartman program and also Ed Schultz and gives the people updates from Occupy DC. And Robert, can you hear me, bud? Are you on the line there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, I'm doing well, bud, and it's a pleasure to talk with you again.
It's great to talk with you again. It's been a while.
It has been a while. I hope all is well. And how's Occupy DC going in what you've seen down there?
Occupy DC, it's going okay. Camp continues to grow.
Yeah.
Last night we had people from Occupy Wall Street and Occupy Trenton come in on a bus to McPherson Square, and they're camping out with us for a few nights. They're here for the purpose of the Bradley Manning trial.
Yes.
and they went down there today, and I was down there twittering for a media group that we've put together through McPherson Square.
Oh, great.
It's called McPherson Media, and
love it.
What's come of that? And
is there a website for that, or is it just occupydc.org? Or
we just put the website up today, and it's McPhersonMedia.net.
Nice. I'm gonna write that down here.
And what's happened at Occupy DC McPherson is the media team there. I've been working with the media team there for a while. We had a bunch of equipment stolen several times.
Oh no!
So it just wasn't practical for the media team to be working on site there.
Sure.
So we had I looked into finding an office for us. Somebody donated an office for us in DC.
Oh, terrific!
And about 8 of us have been working out of an office, and it's a great team of people. AJ Watch on Ustream is a part of our team, and
yes,
unfortunately, 2 of the hunger strikers are on our team. Kelly Mears and Sam Jeweler are also on our media team, and they're out of service for a little while, but we're hoping to get them back soon.
And that's all right. And one of the things that I want to talk about, I've been down to the camp down at McPherson, and there's actually arguably there at some points there's 2 and 3 different occupies going on in Washington D.C. There is a second a group of protesters at Freedom Plaza in Washington D.C. and they originally were called October 2011, and the website was October2011.org. They kicked off their shindig at Freedom Plaza with Chris Hedges, who I love Chris, and we play Hedges on my show all the time. But McPherson Square is really an example of, in my opinion, I would say, an example of a good role model for what local camps could be and should kind of work towards. Now, every single camp is going to have its pros and cons and ups and downs, and that comes with location and involvement and demographics and participation and that like. But everything that I've witnessed, and I've gone down to Occupy DC about a dozen times now, at least once, twice a week since day one. And is that everyone's coming together. It's forming a beautiful community. Everyone supports each other. It's kind of like what, going back to biblical and religious and Jesus, taught to be our brother's keeper, to, feed the hungry, clothe the naked, house the, homeless, and help the poor for free. There's no charge.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of the beautiful things that's going on at Occupy DC. And for folks that might not know, McPherson Square, which is where the park is at in DC, is kind of home and known for a high population of homeless people. And the camp and the occupiers have been able to kind of work together and come together with a majority of the homeless there. And now it's just it's a big community, and everyone's supporting each other, and it's so great to see that.
Yeah, speaking of the homeless people, I think it's one of the things that touched me the most, seeing at least a half a dozen homeless people who I've intimately gotten to know. We're not extremely social. Being homeless is definitely not easy. And I've seen a bunch of these homeless people become a part of the camp, become active members in Occupy in a way that it's just shocking.
Yeah.
And one of the guys, Bear, I did a video journal of him, and he talks about how it just brought him out of his shell.
Yeah.
And how he used to be a more aggressive and angry person. And
I remember meeting Bear on day one, and Bear kind of comes off as it doesn't appear to be initially one of the friendliest folk at the camp, but once I got to talk to him, I remember one of the very first people down there trying to do interviews was going to interview him, and he was a little grumpy, and he was pushing him away, and wanted to put a mask over his face and all this other stuff, and now it's a completely different story, and I love it how it's evolving into a better situation, into a better world. Ultimately, I mean, these camps are kind of local models for what we want the world to be, and we can practice creating a better world, if you will, at these Occupy camps by simply creating the community that we seek, an alternative community and an alternative culture to the mainstream, to the corporate, owned culture, and try to make, an example of what the world should be at these Occupy camps. And that's why we all need to be getting involved. And we need to be making more coffee. Robert, I want to thank you so much for calling in and giving us a few minutes of your time tonight. And I will definitely stay in touch, and I'd love to get you on my other show, the Filter Free Radio Show, at some point. And I'll see you down at the camp soon.
Okay, and check out McPhersonMedia.net. And one other thing, I'll be Twittering all day tomorrow on Russo_IST.
Russo_IST.
And
go ahead.
Daniel Ellsberg is supposed to be out there tomorrow doing a speech.
Oh, terrific.
For protesters. So it should be interesting.
Terrific. I'll mention again
it's a big day.
McPhersonMedia.net, also OccupyDC.org. Robert, keep up the good work, bud, and we'll stay in touch.
You too, Jacob.
Okay.
Thanks, Robert.
Thanks, bud. Well, we've got. I think we've got time for one more call, and then we'll say our piece and pass the throne along to the left neck chick, Danielle, and I know she's getting ready, and I will get the chat room open here in front of me in case she wants to type something in there to me, or if she's communicating to you, Paul, on Skype.
I don't know. But in the meantime, we have on the line Pinko the Bear from OccupyReno.org.
Oh, awesome, Pinko the Bear. Well, let's get him online here. We've got a couple of minutes before we have to end the portion of the broadcast here. Push the magic button here, and Pinko the Bear, you're live on Occuthon.
Excellent. Hey, Jacob. Good to see you. I've heard Tom talk about you and mention you many times. So nice to see you on the screen there on my computer.
Thank you, bud. Thanks for checking us out. Thanks for your support. Thanks for listening to Tom. And you're part of Occupy Reno. Is that correct?
Yeah, we started about, I think we're 51 days into it or 50 days into it.
Mm-hmm.
We asked for a 30-day permit, and the city council gave us 90 days, which was very cool.
Excellent.
We're not, ours is much different. There's no tear gas, there's no billy clubs, there's no garbage, there's just nothing like that. On the other hand, we are 2 miles from downtown at an old city pool that's been closed. We've got like 50,000 square feet. We can have outdoor fires. We have a lot of privileges some other folks don't have. But I think as long as we don't rock the boat,
well,
they're okay with it.
Well, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? So that's great to see that you're that Occupy Reno is going on. I'll mention real quick a good friend of mine, from Tom Hartman program. We used to have Michael Doolin, our video director, who wasn't able to make the switch out with us to Washington D.C. Used to work in Reno and came from Reno to Portland to work with us on the Hartman program. And I've never made it to Reno, but one of these days we'll have to get down there. Biggest little city in the world, right?
and not only is it the biggest little city in the world, Jacob, but it's also the biggest little occupation.
Yes.
Nice.
The biggest little occupation. We only have, and here's the thing, we've only got about 20 overnighters that are regular.
Sure.
And of those, 4 or 5 are kind of, they don't really understand the occupation. They just know that there's free food and tents and warm clothing.
Sure.
But we're working on that. We have campfires every night, usually all through the night, through the morning, even though it gets down into the teens right now. And we talk about everything. We don't have teach-ins, but we sit around and talk about all the issues and kind of try to educate that way. We've had a couple of really good actions. I'm sure you're aware the post office has decided to close 250 or more processing centers, and Reno is one of them. And in a town hall meeting a couple weeks ago, we mic checked the town hall meeting, and we got an enormously good response from all the postal workers, and a lot of coverage. So we're getting decent coverage in the news. They're not painting us as horrible people, hippies, but it's still small, and so we still have a lot of work to do. The other thing, the reason I called, and since it is an Occuthon,
yes,
we have to pay for an insurance bond, and it's up on Sunday, and we're short a couple $100. We have a pretty small till. It's well under $1,000.
Real quick, we only have a couple of seconds left. Can you mention the website and how people can donate to that real quick?
Sure. Yeah, it's occupyreno.org. I'm not sure that we have a PayPal or a WePal up on it yet, but that's something we're working on. But occupyreno.org.
Terrific.
There's all the information there.
Terrific. Pinko, thanks for calling in, bud. Thanks for the support.
All righty, Jacob. Keep doing what you're doing, my friend.
Thank you, buddy. And right back at you. Keep up the good work, guys. On that note, that's going to do it for our first bit on Occuthon. My name is Jacob Dean, and it's been a pleasure. I want to thank Jill E. Bond. Jill, thank you so much for hanging in there with us.
Pleasure.
And I want to get you on Filter Free with Scott, and let's
do it.
We'll have a much more mellow conversation.
Where?
Anytime.
And Scott, thanks for being super fantastic producer, man. Well done.
Hey, man, I'm learning on the job. Learn by doing, right?
Well, we're only going to make the second round better. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Danielle, the left neck chick, is coming up next. She'll be broadcasting live from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, for you here on Occuthon. And I just want to leave you with one.